All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. And tonight I have two special guests, two regulars. You know, they are always on the Search for Who show. Miss Shirley Husar and my brother, Kala Genesis. And Shirley, you are my sister.
Well, thank you. I was like, all right.
My good brother, Kala Genesis. And tonight's topic is Black nationalists and Black conservatives, can they coexist? Now, Black liberals, they're not even in the conversation. They're just too far left for us. But me personally, I noticed that Black nationalists and Black conservatives, they have the same type, somewhat the same type of ideology, except for Black nationalists are more like, look, we're not going to participate in the system because we feel as if we've been doing it for 400 years and it's been a waste of time. It hasn't worked out. Versus Black conservatives are like, look, we are here in America. We've built America. Being a conservative right now fits our best interest. So we're going to continue to participate in the system and it will work out in our favor. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Shirley. So Black nationalists and Black conservatives. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on like Black nationalism? Like, you know, what's your how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel Black nationalists.
Let me say this, not to cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm a moderator a little bit because I know you both can be long-winded. So
you gotta mute yourself because she's acting.
I will. But go ahead, Shirley. Go ahead and take it away.
As a Black conservative, I believe that we should hold elected officials accountable. That's why I created Urban Game Changers, so that we hold elected officials accountable first. As patrons, as American citizens, we have the right to every right that is given to every American-born person. Now, in saying that, we are not getting those rights. We are not benefiting from the civil rights movement. We are not benefiting from our ancestors, those who are children of the indigenous slave tribe. And I think the difference between a Black conservative and, as Dinus has said, and a Black nationalist, I don't believe we should walk away from the table. It's like walking away from the table and you hit the jackpot, and then you're not holding them accountable for the jackpot that you hit. It's like, hold on. Do you realize my people built this country? Do you realize my people have suffered? Because now we have immigrants, illegal immigrants coming in, taking and misconstruing, including the gay and lesbian community, taking what we created through the civil rights movement, the benefits that we should be obtaining that we're not getting. So I think we absolutely can coexist because I respect this brother and where he comes from in that regards. I just think the difference is I stand behind the Constitution, but I also stand the fact that we have failed because we've elected politicians, Black elected politicians to do jobs for us, which they're not doing. They're not working in our best interest. They're working in their own best interest. They're failing our urban communities. Crime is still at an all-time highs. Guns and people are still Black on Black crime is still there. Mass incarceration, privatized prisons. These people voted these things into place. So how do we change that for the Black community is first to identify our power. You know, it comes in numbers and money. First of all, we don't utilize the power that we have in this country because we've been abused and taken advantage of. But first of all, I don't think we identify it. So as a Black conservative, I do believe in traditional values. I believe in free market. I believe in limited government, not to the point that we have right now with the socialist movement that's out there and a liberal progressive. Who's progressing? Not us, them. So in order to become a Black nationalist, this is where I disagree. Where you gonna get that money from? Oh, we're gonna get it from each other. We can't even help Pookie down the street buy him a new pair of shoes for his kids for school. So how are we gonna get that money? I think that we should stand our ground on what rights we do have instead of having our altar and our view being shifted into a new protective class, which is illegal immigrants, which we should stop that and move away and come back to our own values and our own points.
I was gonna say, go ahead, Carla.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for the show. Thanks for being there. Welcome guests to the show and everything. Thanks for having me on Dynasty tonight. And thanks for the sisters to come on tonight. Okay, now when people say we, right? When People say fundamentally we, right? So we have to first establish a we. That means a us and us, right? People don't understand what they're actually espousing is black nationalist ideology without even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? When we say that we're gonna walk away from the table, we're not walking away from anything. You know what I'm saying? When we say black nationalist stuff and every black nationalist ideology, there's two sorts of black nationalism. One that people that believe that the long-term American experiment has failed, and then that we cannot completely assimilate into American made. In other words, let me give you an example. America has always been about trying to. So Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, all these men, none of them ever believed that the descendant of slaves, the Africans, will ever assimilate into American society. Why? Because assimilation ultimately means intermarriage and breeding out another people. Let me go back in history. Let me go back in history. Now, this is not to discredit, right, the great accomplishment. Let me put this out there, right? We have done a lot and contributed a lot to this country. You know what I'm saying? We've fought in every last single war, right? We're decorated veterans and everything. The black fighters in the Revolutionary War, the black soldiers of the Civil War, the black soldiers of World War One, the Spanish American War, and everything. The Rough Riders, Thin Rose, Both Riders are all distinguished and make us proud of what we are. What we are as black people in America. Our ancestors basically fought for us to be part of America, and be part of the American system and have the access to the American dream. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? There's no real person who calls himself a black nationalist will ever take that away from black people. You know what I'm saying? It is your right to be an American. There's a lot of black people who made their peace with America and say, hey, look, you know something? I understand Thomas Jefferson was a racist. I understand George Washington was a racist, but you know something? I think I got something good here. I think I got something honorable here. I think our ancestors fought here, and we believe in this country. Look, there's nobody going to take that away from me. Take that away from me. You know what I'm saying? And also, there's also a lot of white people who say, "Hey, look, you know something? Black people are part of this country. They're this." And I think, as far as black people being assimilated into American society, I believe it reached a threshold because further assimilation is going to require that you dismantle Black America. Okay, Black America have had wings in this country for 300 something years. We had the Prince Hall Masons. We had the AME Church, the AME Zion Church, the African Missionary Baptist Church. We have many institutions, the Black Prince Hall Masons. All these things are the building blocks of Black America. We're not just people sitting around waiting to jump into America, jump in America. We've always had communities and we had institutions here that kept our communities together. The biggest institution we had in Black America was the Black family. Okay, and basically we built the Black family. We built all these things and everything. We survived, and also the resilience of Black America. You know, all we wanted basically was a space and to feed our people, to grow and pick ourselves up, the same access to everybody else. We had one time in this country black insurance companies, black banks in the 19th century. People don't know this. We had black inventors. We did a whole lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But there's a problem here, right? You still have a race, and this is the thing. What makes me about a lot of black conservatives. They want to talk about cookies, Ray Rays, and they want to talk about all these things that black people don't have because they don't fit in America. But they will talk about the racists. There are people in this country who are white people who are your enemies, who are racist, who don't want you to be part of America. They always go out there and put the narrative out there. If we're Americans like they are, right? Why is it that the majority of the world gets their information from the U.S. government and all these other places, the CIA, spreading negative images of black people as black population in America? You know, so therefore I cannot in good conscience, and also when people see Thomas Jefferson as a great American leader, he's got owned 600 slaves. He was a murderer. George Washington was a racist. So if you embrace George Washington, as great as he was, military genius, George Washington was a military genius, and you got to admire that, founder of the Republic and everything. But these men were basically said, look, part of what we are is we have to enslave the black man, and the residual effects of that still affects us to this day. Now, even during that time period, there's always going to be some black people who escape through the cracks. We understand that. There's going to be peace. But on the whole, the majority of black people are never going to assimilate fully into America and say with a full heart that I'm American and that's it. We can say it all we want, but something always reminds us. We have a Trayvon Martin quote.
Kala, a couple more minutes so Shirley can
Okay,
respond. Go ahead.
okay. So therefore, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm proud to be an American, right? I'm proud to be American. This, that, and the other thing. We get that. We understand that, right? But also because I tell people all the time, we didn't make it in this country because of America. We made it in spite of America. We had freaking black men who were slaves who were inventors. Slaves were inventors. That's the resilience of our people, our culture, and our community, and our community. So in other words, basically, we're Americans when we're benefiting white people, but we're not Americans when we're not. So they got to understand what part of America they want. Do they want us to be Americans? That means they accept us as full human beings, or do they don't want us at all? And this is the dilemma we come in. Now, me as a nationalist, I'm like, I'll make it easy for them.
All right, Kyle, you got 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds.
We as nationalists, right? We pulling their card. We make it easy for them, right? Okay. If you say that we are, you don't think we're American like we are, because the bottom line is America has spent trillions of dollars rebuilding Europe after World War II, right? How much money is America giving to Africa? Our blood descendants, right? We got poverty in Haiti and all these other countries America completely neglects, right? Now, if we're truly American like you say you are, then America will have fair trade deals with Nigeria. It will have fair trade deals with Liberia. It will have fair trade deals. This is one of the things African leaders always say. America doesn't do right when it comes in. This is one of why China's taking over. Now we're saying that Black America, we're sitting there saying, something, you're right. Why is America more concerned about Europe and helping giving $32 billion to Israel, but it has never basically given Africa anything? You know what I'm saying? And we generate $1.2 trillion in America. We get nothing out of it.
Let me go. Yeah, let me give Miss Shirley the opportunity to respond. Would you like to respond, Miss Husar?
Absolutely. I'm not here to defend America's actions. We would be blind, dumb, and stupid if we don't already know the history that you just shared with us, my brother, or the pain or the anguish that we have gone through and continue to go through. I mean, the founding fathers needed commodity, and we are commodity. They brought us here as commodity, and we're still being used as commodity. So I'm not going to go through this rhetoric of Lincoln, Abraham, and all of that. But what I will tell you is this: if you want to deal with the now, because I'm not disclaiming, I'm not going to dismiss what you said, because I totally agree. We are a nation of people that have been used and abused and taken advantage of, and all the things that you're talking. But let's talk to the millennials. Let's talk to each other, and let's start saying, what about us today? I'm not talking about Africa. I don't live in Africa. And I respect my African brothers and sisters, but I'm dealing with African-American men who will be incarcerated for weed. I'm dealing with African-American men who can't even take care of their families because the system has it set up so that when a Black man comes back home to his house, to that woman, he's not able to do that because the system says you're in this house illegally, and I can't keep getting her fundings to keep her funding going for her family. I'd rather talk about ways as African Americans, because all kin folks are not skin folks. All Africans don't like Black Americans. That's a fact. But then there's some African people that are beautiful, that are accomplished and astute, and really appreciate the process that they had to go through, to become Americans. And I respect those brothers and sisters. And then there's some who come over here illegally. Look, if we want to talk about commodities and trades and opportunities for Black people, we have to start talking to each other first and start dealing with the fact that we live in a country where it's not going to become Black. We're only 13% of the population. We're not going to dominate this population. There's no way we can do that unless we start growing the family again, unless we start talking about family again. But every time we have conversations, we have to revert to pain. Pain does not create solutions. Pain, all that does is anger us and have us remind us of where we were. I'm not disavowing that, but I'm just saying, how can you be more relevant of today? Why aren't you talking about LLCs and S corporations? Why aren't you talking about small business growth and certificate of programs versus trying to do 4 years and 8 years in college, and programs that we need to have created for brothers when they get out of jail? And that we're not just talking about jail and abortion for Black people, because some of us aren't in jail, and some of us, a large portion aren't in jail. Black people, a large portion aren't aborting babies. So what about the ones that are having family, and how can we help that next generation? I understand there's the Black nationalists and how they want to grow, remembering the pain and the things of the past, but I'm trying to deal with the now and holding this administration. We need money. And you're not going to get money. Hold on, I didn't cut you off. Okay, I didn't cut you off. We need money. Black people need money. And the Black people who have the money ain't giving us the money. Whoopi Goldberg's worth $45 million. You've got all these different Blacks who are out there, celebrities, singers, songwriters, athletes who have money. And instead of us getting together, pooling together, instead of attacking each other on ideology viewpoints or struggles of Black past, why don't we deal with Black present and talk about the prevention of our children becoming devastated and homeless and crime on the street, or MS-13s taking them out on the streets like they do in LA? That's my main concern. So you got the wrong sister if you think you're going to sit here and argue with me on Black history. There's no reason to go down that road. I'm dealing with 2018. I'm not dealing with Africa. I'm dealing with African Americans, children of the indigenous slave tribe, children who came here as commodity, and great grandchildren. The inheritance of those children are me and others who are watching this show. I respect Africa, and I understand this administration could probably do more for Africa. I can't fight for Africa right now. I'm fighting for my own people's existence. We're about to bombard upon 400 years of being in this country, and we are still trying to fight for an existence of respect. So until we hold elected officials accountable, until we can come to the table and talk about 2018, I don't see what's the use to continue to remember the pain, because we can't even get through the future.
Okay, well, let me answer that. Okay, you said that we should hold elected officials accountable, okay? All right, now, we have a serious problem in the inner city. You mentioned the inner city, crime and guns and everything like that, okay? The reason why we have crime and guns in the inner city is because of the Republican Party, right? The NRA. You know what I'm saying? Is that a fact?
No, it's not a fact. The reason why you have you asked me that question. I'm answering your question. No, that's not the fact. Democrats run the city.
No.
Nothing to do with the guns that are being infiltrated through mafia movement. That's not true. That is not true.
Okay, let me finish, and then
okay. Now look at the
inner city districts.
Hold on.
Los Angeles is ran by Democrats.
Let me tell you.
Chicago is Democrats. Atlanta is Democrats.
Sister Shirley, let her finish. Let her finish.
The Republican Democrat game. I'm talking about Black people suffering. He won't talk about.
Hold on.
Let me finish. Go ahead, Colin. Go ahead.
Let me finish. The Republican Party, and the NRA, right? When asked about, we have a problem right here in Virginia, right here, Republican legislature and everything like that. The guns that you see in that are filtering illegally on the streets of America, right? All illegal, right? All coming from Republican red states. Okay, the NRA, the Republican Party, will not say anything because these people are making money. It's a good old boy network, right? And we talk about, okay, well, let's have fiscal conservatism. Why don't they have fiscal conservatism when they basically cutting up the defense budget? I live down here by the military. There's so much fraud and waste going on in the defense industry and everything like that, and all these things going on. But everybody wants to talk about fiscal responsibility and fiscal small government until it hits their pocket. You start talking about small government when they start saying, "Let's shut down this base we don't need. Let's stop giving these defense contractor money." No, we need more money because we got to be prepared. The defense industry is blown out of proportion. $700 billion is going to be budget in his next budget for defense. Now tell me where the small government come from. I don't see any Republicans talking about small government. There's only small government when it comes to talking about things the ordinary person wants. See what I'm saying? When it comes to these people that run the Republican Party, no, they're going to be taken care of. And goes back to what I'm talking about, the NRA. The NRA and these people that basically manufacture guns, we have more guns. They said there's 300 million guns on American streets. You know what I'm saying? That's a pandemic. And when you have that many illegal guns on the street, you can't talk to me seriously about building some community. You know what I'm saying? Because a generation ago, we did not have the amount of violence and gun violence shooting on the streets. You know what I'm saying? And not even a decade ago, we didn't have this problem. But we have these guns on the streets because the gun manufacturers are running amok. You know what I'm saying? And you can't pin that on. That's what I'm saying. I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I look at the things pragmatically. You know what I'm saying? I can't just say, okay, Republicans, the Democrats, the Republicans are probably the Democrats are party. The bottom line is, yeah, they're Democratic precincts. But basically, the whole thing is this, though. Where these guns originate, the state of Indiana, right? They refuse to have any sort of gun control, And where these guns end up? They end up in the poor communities. People could buy a gun faster than they could buy a pack of cigarettes. So therefore, that's an issue that discredits any idea of this. If we want to talk to the Republicans, one of the first things I would say, you need to change your stance on the NRA. You need to distance yourself from the NRA. Because the NRA is a gun manufacturer. The NRA, first of all, let's talk about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was designed for the 17th century, the 1700s, and people fighting Indian.
And
then I'll make sure he won't interrupt you either.
He's pivoting to another subject, and I would like to.
No, I'm saying my point. I'm making my point. My point is this: you say that we need to talk about our issue. To me, the number one issue is the amount of violence in the black communities and everything. Not just violence; there's always violence right there. But people are dying. People are getting shot. The 8-year-old girl getting shot by stray bullets. You know what I'm saying? Where is this coming from?
We're 4 minutes in now, Dinus. Can I respond?
Okay. So I want to know, what is your plan to talk to the Republican Party about the amount of illegal guns that are manufactured in America, not imported? You can't say that about drugs. Mexicans bringing the drugs here, the guns here. It ain't the legal Mexicans bringing the guns here. It's white men who are manufacturing and producing the guns, and they make sure they get distributed on the streets. So I want to know what is that, and those are all Republican-leaning people. So I want to know, will you take a stand against that?
All right, go ahead, Shirley. Go ahead and answer.
Okay, so there's 3 levels of government: local, state, and federal. Like I said, I'm a Black conservative, and I believe that we need to work within this system and act within it and hold elected officials accountable. Black nationalists, I still have not heard from this young man explaining to me what that really is. He's talking about guns now, so let's address the gun issue. With the local, state, and federal, you have local elected officials who are in majority in urban communities who are Democrats. And you have Republicans who also in somewhat of urban communities, but the large majority of the Black ones are not ran by, especially if you look at Detroit, are not ran by Republicans. I'm not here to defend Republicans. I'm not here to defend Democrats, honestly. What I want us to understand is that we have to develop lines of communication of understanding the structure of government, how government is ran, and how we're failing by not holding them accountable. We're not going to city council meetings. We're not getting in front of things. When we see Sandra Black, when we see about people getting pulled over and people who are getting killed, are people right now who are being targeted and harassed just for being Black, swimming in a pool, being at a barbecue, walking down the street. We need to be addressing our local elected officials. We cannot do the rhetoric that Democrats like to say, well, the Republicans did this and the Republicans did that. I don't talk in those terms. I talk in the terms of accountability, of one's self-reliance, and understanding that you need to know that. If I were to ask you, do you know who your senator is? Now, what is the gentleman I'm talking to?
Colin,
I'm sorry. If I were to ask, how many times, I just want to finish my thought. How many times have you gone down to the city council meeting complaining about guns? How many times have you gone? I want to finish my thought. I let you talk for 4 minutes straight. How many times have you gone down to the city council meeting? How many meetings have you had with the mayor's office? Do you know who your assemblyman is? Do you know who your governor is? Do you know who the water board is? Do you know who the school board is? Do they know your name? Do they have your phone number? And have you developed a team of people? Have you developed a team of people video blogging and posting the corruption in your community? Because when you can do that and show a Pookie who's down the street selling guns and start asking Pookie, how you get that gun? And where are these guns coming from? See, I believe that I didn't cut you off, nor did I interrupt you, but you continue to want to go ahead. But that's all right. It just tells you how defensive you are about what you're saying.
I'm not defensive. You said a whole lot.
Let me finish and give you some real truth and school you. You might learn something. If you understand that you have to hold everyone that is in your life making political and safety decisions in your community accountable and act upon holding them accountable, yelling at them, providing data and based towards them. I don't care about the damn party. What I care about the fact that we all are sleeping at the damn wheel as Black people, and these people are just using us, using the laws that are in place who are supposed to work in our best interest and the other people's best interest. For example, in Sacramento, they gave $1.5 million to illegal immigrants, 1.5 illegal immigrants, MS-13 mafia gang members to keep peace in the community. Now, what kind of preposterous stuff is that? Why didn't the people in Sacramento march and go down towards that? You know, these are things that people out here like what we're doing in LA, dealing with trying to hold a line on the Southern California end of the spectrum. So I'm not going to debate Republican or Democrat or who brought the guns in or who didn't bring the guns in. They already know who's doing that. They know who's bringing them guns in. What we're not doing is cutting the guns off by saying to elected officials, you know who's bringing them guns in. And if you don't stop this crime, we're not voting you back in office. Okay. We're not voting the judges back in office. We're not voting any of you back in office. As a matter of fact, we're going to run somebody against you. Black people who are empowered should take the position to say, we're going to run somebody that represents us in our best interests.
Okay, Kyla, go ahead and
All right. Let me say, she said a whole lot and rambled on and everything. It didn't make a point. You know what I'm saying? First of all, okay, I do know who my senator is. Mark Warner and all these other people, the mayor. You know, I met the mayor of my city. I met the mayor of Newport News. He just got reelected. I did a seminar with him a couple of months ago. I'm well versed in my community here in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? And first of all, where I live in Virginia Beach, we don't have a crime problem. We have a 20%, 25% Black population, and we have almost zero crime, zero gang banging, none of that stuff, right? Because we somehow we got ourselves together here. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have those same problems with Pookie and Ray Ray the other people have. We're you look us up, we're one of the safest cities in America to live. Okay? That's where I live at. Okay? Now what I'm talking about is this, right? Talking about this. You said that you didn't it's not a Democrat or Republican, but you got real defensive when I said I put the blame on the Republican Party for the guns.
I'm not getting defensive. Okay? I'm not defensive about any of that. I'm telling you what I said.
Oh, you gotta let me finish.
We have to hold all these people no matter what party they're with.
You talk for 4 minutes. They'll say, let me finish, right?
No, you talk.
People, hold on. The people.
I'm watching the clock on you and about Dynas's timing me, but go ahead.
The problem is this. The problem is this, though. We gonna sit here and talk about Democrats and Republicans and everything, and we got to get out there. We got to do all this stuff like this, do all this kind of nonsense and everything. We have the most active Black political participation I've ever seen in my lifetime. We have people out there doing all kinds of stuff. Have you been on the internet lately? You know what I'm saying? I got my brother Sharkim down in Charleston, South Carolina. Look him up. He's down there battling with the city of mayor over.
Do you know how many Black people are in California? Do you know how many Blacks are in California?
We're gonna have a conversation. She doesn't keep interrupting me.
Kyla, 2 more minutes. 3 more minutes, Kyla. 3 more minutes.
He asks a question, and then when I respond, he gets upset.
Oh, no, you're not responding. You're interrupting me. You're not responding.
Miss Shirley, let him give him 3 more minutes, and then you can respond. Go ahead, Kyla, go.
Okay, I got my brother Shakim down there in Charleston, South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And we're shedding the light of what the mayor is trying to do. You got people in this country, right, who are calling cops on little Black kids who are trying to sell flowers. You know what I'm saying? Call flowers. And do all this stuff like that. And the little white kids out there selling lemonade is so cute and everything. We got things in this country, we're battling racism. It's not just, okay, Black people, you're not doing your part. We got people out there in the trenches, out there doing the work and everything, out there on the ground with the people, and the community is energized and organized. That's in my area. That's all throughout the country because I'm in contact with them. So this nonsense about, oh, we're not doing nothing, that's a lot of freaking crap. You know what I'm saying? The people out there doing stuff and everything. But what we have is this. We have to start turning in on ourselves and start buckling down and finding out who we are and what we want to accomplish, you know? Because neither one of these political parties is going to help us. None of these problems. The Republican Party is out for big business. They're out for the gun lobby and all these other people that are making money in the defense industry and all these other things. That's their base. What they put in front of you is these family values and all kind of stuff like that. That's what they energize the base with. You know what I'm saying? The real thing is the corporate America and all these things. That's where the money comes from. That's who the real Republican and Democrat parties up on top. What they give you is little social issues because then, you can't think beyond that. You know what I'm saying? All these social problems right here in the community, this, that, the other thing. So we got to vote Democrat, Republican. Now, some issues are clear. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, you believe in abortion. If you're a Republican, you don't believe in abortion. That might sway your vote. You know what I'm saying? But what does that got to do with Black America? I have absolutely no idea. So talking about Los Angeles and California, I don't know what's going on in Los Angeles, California, but it looks a mess. You know what I'm saying? It looks a mess. You know what I'm saying? And that's many generations of people, and it's not a Democrat Republican thing. It's the whole entire system that failed. In fact, to tell you the truth, most of the Black people I know will not live in districts where we don't have a congressman. You know what I'm saying? You got Black congressmen like John Conyers has been there since 1964 in Detroit. Why? Because
come in now.
Most Black people moved out of Detroit.
He has one more minute. And it's yours. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
All stuff like that. We all know the Democratic machine is corrupt. Ain't nobody defending the Democratic machine. You know what I'm saying? Nobody defending the Democratic machine. So let's not pretend like it's a Democrat Republican thing. Because when I say, okay, why are you defending the Republican? Oh, I'm not defending the Republican. You get defensive. What is it? I'm like this. I'm ready to walk away from both these parties and say, if you're intelligent, I'm intelligent. Let's find a common ground solution or where we can work on some things. It ain't running to the Republican Party at this point in our history. Maybe 20 years from now, when we're organized, we got a little better a plan, and we find out what we want to do and everything. Then you can say, okay, let's time to reassess our political situation.
Oh, we got 15 seconds.
That's not us right now. But go ahead. I yield my time. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. And everybody, we have 149 people watching. Please hit that like button as you come in. All right, Miss Shirley, go ahead and respond. And I got another question after you respond. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. So I think that's fair. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Black pain is real. There's no doubt about it that we as Black people are going through one of the worst times in U.S. history. It's almost like we're going backwards. Everything that civil rights fought for, we've lost. All the protective class citizen things that we should have acquired, we're losing to illegal immigrants. Each state has something different going on. Each state has something to bring to the table and take away from the table. We're down to 6% Blacks in California. We have no Black people in California. Southern California is even worse than Northern California. We've been integrated by illegal immigrants who are invading in our communities and who are able to sell on the street, who are able to trying to take over Black people's properties. It's unbelievable the filth that we deal with. We're dealing with 80 to 90% of the people homeless downtown LA are Black people. People who have EBT cards and vouchers cannot get housing because the illegal immigrants have worked in conjunction with the immigrants who have created chain migration through visas, and they are only house illegal immigrants. They will not house African Americans. So when I talk to the African American seniors, I did a video where I showed this lady who's 67 years old, who unfortunately was not able to find a place because she got priced out because of rents. Middle class poor in San Francisco right now for whites and Black is $120,000 a year. $120,000 a year for middle class poor. The prices are crazy. The rents in San Francisco, 2 bedrooms go for $4,000 a month. So we're talking about apples and oranges when it talks about economics and economy in California versus other states nationwide. But police brutality, racism, bias, prejudice, those words are prevalent within our community, and they will still be prevalent until we identify that there are people who have money and power who could create lobbies and legislation, or at least enforce laws that we already have in place to work in our best interests. Now, the brother came on talking about Democrat, Republican, Democrat. I'm not even going down that road. If he wants to continue to regurgitate that, he can. I said they both were a mess. And then he came back saying, oh, yeah, they're both a mess. When he was going harping about Republicans and guns. I'm not going to even do that because that's what the other side likes to focus on. I like to focus on the fact that if we can build a relationship of communication and accountability and identification of issues. And basically, people who are out there, shout out to the Advice Show, who's constantly showing you these small nips of racism and bigotry that continues to flourish in a country where white people are calling on us on their phone because we're barbecuing or just trying to enjoy a nice day outside. Shout out to people who are constantly bringing awareness to this matter, and to all of us who can contribute something to the table instead of beating each other up. I am Black American first than I am African first. I'm African American first. And so I still go back on my principle that if you don't hold elected officials accountable, you fail. But see, there's no profit in the cure. And that's really the answer. There's no profit in the cure, because if they were able to find a cure or knew the cure, they couldn't continue on the governmental programs that they have out there, these subsidized earmark programs that they're able to put money underneath the table so that they can steal these politicians, these elected officials on both sides. So we as African American people need to sit and have conversations. And I'm glad he's doing well in his area. Unfortunately, in all the work that we're dealing with in California, we're dealing with people who are divisive, destructive, and who are basically have gone so dark on the other side. They are wasting the money of the American people in California, and our tax dollars and our county dollars are just being wasted on illegal immigrants. We can't handle the flow of people that continue to come in here. Data will show you that. Numbers and articles have showed you that. But the state leaders who the people continue to vote for, and again, I'm going back to voting and database. If you know that your city is corrupt, why do you keep voting for these same people in office? If you know the judges are going to be still targeting Black people to incarcerate our people, why don't we vote those judges out? The 3 strikes you're outlaw. Why are we petitioning to get that off the table and get Black men out of jail for weed or whatever?
Shirley, yeah, 30 more seconds.
He talked about social issues. Well, let me tell you, I do more than social issues. I was a surrogate for Donald Trump. I also was a delegate for the state of California. So I understand that we need a president that is not a Republican or a Democrat, but comes from a business perspective, who understands trades and commodities. But again, you don't go to people with power with nothing on the table. Right now, white people look at the Congressional Black Caucus, the Urban League, and the ACLU as our leaders. These are our Black leaders. And as you know, those leaders are failing us. And what I'm saying is that there needs to be a rise of new people to come to the table and hold elected officials accountable, and hold wealthy people, athletes, entertainers, anyone that really cares about the Black American people, and say, you have the money, you have the resources to fund legislation and lobbyists to make changes within the urban communities.
All right. So Colin, let me ask you this question.
Yeah. You're muted, Dinus.
Oh, I'm tripping. I was muted. Sorry about that. So,
We all like, what is he saying?
I'm just talking. So, Colin, she said there needs to be a movement to rise up, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Shirley, Sister Shirley, to rise up against the Black politicians and hold our politicians in general accountable. Now, my question for you, Kala, is that, are we wasting our time by jumping from party to party to do that?
It's absolutely.
Oh, let me finish, Kala. Let me finish. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Let me finish. Or is Black nationalism the only solution? Go ahead.
Right. All right, let me say this, right? Let me get 5 minutes to get this all out here, right? Almost everything she said, right? She said I wasn't talking about the Democrats, but anyway, I criticize the Democrats. You know, I have a plethora of arguments. How have we even destroyed the Democrats since I've been on your show, Dinus? I talk about them more than I do the Republicans, don't I?
Oh yeah, that's all we do.
That's all we do. Democrats. Remember, we destroyed them. You know what I'm saying? So that argument about this, that, thing, is the thing. Now let's talk about something, the elephant in the room, right? The Republican Party, right, under Ronald Reagan, was the first thing that brought in illegal in the elected state, gave amnesty. People don't know that. You know what I'm saying? With the Mariana boat lift in Cuba and the Mexican immigrants, right? And the work visa and the guest worker program was started under Reagan and the first George W. Bush, right? And it was expanded under the second George. It was expanded during NAFTA when NAFTA was passed, right? And then we start getting all these illegals start coming up there. And Bill Clinton tried to curb it just a little bit because at the time, let's be honest, the Democrats at the time, were like, well, these illegals are going to hurt poor workers and everything. George W. Bush II was like, these are people too, and he was planning to build a highway between Canada and Mexico, right? So this idea that illegal immigrants are a Democratic thing, this, that, thing is a lie. The Republicans got their hand in this too because they want cheap labor. You know what I'm saying? Those illegal immigrants are working in farms, they're working in factories, they're working in all these other places around the country and everything like that. Now I'll give Donald Trump this, right? Donald Trump came in and said, look, we don't want any of this, we're going to throw them out, this and thing. I think he's fighting a losing battle, to tell you the truth, because the monetary forces for keeping a cheap labor is so great that I think the bottom line, they'll bring down his presidency for it, So that's one thing, right? So let's not make it seem like, okay, the Democrats are the illegal, and also let's talk about illegal aliens, right? If it wasn't for the United States involvement in Honduras, El Salvador, and all these other people that prop up these dictators down there and everything like that, these banana republics and everything, you would not have this illegal immigration problem, okay? These illegal alien problems coming from American foreign policy in the country. Now let's talk about America. People want to defend America all the time. Japan, around the same time in the 1960s, right, took its capital when it started really industrializing and it started pushing out Toyota and Nissan and everything. They alone, all their Southeast Asian countries, billions of yen, right, to capitalize and industrialize, right? And then they became capital trading partners around Southeast Asia. Now you have the Pacific Century, right? Now Asia is now the dominant force in the world for manufacturing. At the same time, what was America doing? America was in covert operation, narco drug trades in Colombia, Peru, and all these other places. You have all around America, what you have is poverty, disease, despair, everything. And this is your so-called American exceptionalism. So when somebody says, oh, I'm proud to be an American, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is this, America, white America is going to own its own foreign policy. When somebody comes to me and says, are you basically agree with American foreign policy as far as American history and Panama? Well, I agree that Jimmy Carter gave the Panama Canal back to Panama. That was a good thing. You know what I'm saying? That was a reverse thing because we took the Panama Canal from Nicaragua, in the early 1900s, right? So my whole thing is this. If you don't understand what America has been doing in Central America for the last 100 years, you don't understand the migrant problem. These countries didn't get industrialized. America didn't go in these countries and invest in all these other things. And then NAFTA made it even worse because indigenous industries in Mexico suffered because they was able to come in and bring in their own factories and everything, and then flood American goods into Mexico, hurting indigenous labor. Now, when they come across the border, we want to demonize them, right? Now, I understand that the illegal aliens are hurting black folks, right? But why should we be the mouthpiece of a right-wing propaganda when it was the right-wing propaganda who benefits the most from illegal aliens? They're going to benefit from the cheap labor. Everywhere you look around, they're busting factories, right? Factories, whole factories of hundreds of people. How you have a factory with 150 people being illegal? Without there being some government or some policy in place in Republican-held districts. A lot of the illegals work in Republican-held districts.
Kyle, you got about 15 more seconds.
Okay, so that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to say. And so the idea that we're not doing the things in our community, yeah, we're doing the things in our community. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the things. We're doing what we can do. Well, we can't control the gun violence and all stuff like that. We can't control what the media images of Black America is. We don't control the media. We don't control all
that's time. Go ahead, Shirley. You want to respond to that?
So recently, President Trump has been traveling abroad. He just came back from England. He met with NATO. He's also talking to foreign leaders and letting them know that as far as the free trade, that they have not been putting their fair share, because the previous administrations, like this young man said previously, he is correct. They have failed us. Look, I'm not looking for a Republican Party to be the healer and the savior of my life. I'm not that chick. You got the wrong one on the line. I can't disavow anything that you said. You said it's all right on point. It's history. It's life. But when it comes to illegal immigrants, the illegal immigrants have come here and they're colonists. They don't bring value to our communities. They take away from our communities the fact that they are here now, and the fact that they came in with legislation that empowered them and didn't empower us. And we failed by not shutting that situation down. And now it has evolved to be something that some kind of other creature I couldn't even begin to tell you, because you're not here. You're not in California. You can't even understand the pain that we're going through here. You can't understand the Black people that are homeless. You can't even understand the fact that these people look at us as a lesser class of citizen of people. They look at us as saying, well, you people are lazy and bum and you don't want nothing. We'll take your jobs. We'll take your houses. And then they make their money and they send it back to their own country. And now you want me to say, and that's a Republican issue, or that's something that they're trying to push me to state? I have to state that as a fact. I know what they do to my people. I know what they're doing out on the streets, and I see it every day and I live it every day. So, you know, I don't understand why you don't understand the importance of how we need to stop illegal immigration, chain migration, and we need to bring attention to the RAISE Act. We have to work within this administration of government and hold where we are today. We have to deal with where we are today. We continue to go back and look at, well, this is why it's this way and this is why it's this way. Okay, now that we've clarified everything that you said is true, I want to say to you, where do we go from there? Where do we go from here? What is your solution to all that you know?
Okay, you throwing the floor back to me. Okay, look, like I said, when you said earlier, we need to get Black people together to pull our money, do all the stuff like that. But do you agree that Black people should have institutions? You know what I'm saying? Do you believe Black people should have banks?
My question.
Hold on. I'm
You have not answered my question. I'm not gonna let you pivot away from what I asked you. I asked you, what is the solution?
Hey, hold on. This is what we'll do. Kyla, go ahead and answer her question since she she technically still has time. So
okay, all right. So the question, what we should do? Okay, the question what we should do is, like I said, it's always been Black nationalism and also local politics, and also Black people form their own political parties. You know what I'm saying? Let me ask you a question. If you're gonna
you're not answering the question. I said, what is the solution? Let me re-ask my question a different way. You're still on my time.
Hold on. She still has like 2 minutes, Carla. So let her.
So I'm asking you, and everything that you're sharing, since you're very historical knowledge of what happened in the past and who's responsible and how it commenced and what has been done to us, can we deal with the issues of the now? Tell me a solution, not pivot to another question, of a solution that you have to fix everything that you just said out of your mouth for the last 4 minutes. What's the solution?
Okay, land, infrastructure, nationhood. I'm a nationalist. That's my solution. Land, infrastructure, nationhood. You know what I'm saying? That's the solution. Black America have to move towards nationhood because obviously the powers that be want the illegals here, and it's going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get worse. You know. Now, as far as what I advise you to do, and people who believe in the system still, you need to form your own caucus. You know what I'm saying? You have a Tea Party caucus. You have a Freedom caucus. You have all these caucuses within the Republican Party, right? There's an old adage that we always use in the BL. We say we have no permanent friends, we have no permanent enemies, we have permanent interests, right?
So I have 1 minute left. I have 1 minute left, right? And then he can do his talk. If you said by acquiring land, how do you plan on getting that money to acquire this land? Which I'm not disagreeing. That would be great if we're able to create a new Black Wall Street. If they won't disrupt our energy and our space, and they will allow us to be our own entity and to be of our own merit and not come in and try to have us assimilate and stay assimilated. I mean, everybody else is separating. Everybody in California is a bad version of Epcot. So you're not going to argue with me on that count. My thing is still comes down to money. Where are you going to acquire this land, and what funds will be used, and how do you plan to acquire them?
It's like this. When you have territory, right? What's the first thing? Let's say you have a territory, right? How does the state of let's say you have a new territory, the state of Oregon. How does the state of Oregon develop, right? First of all, it has territory. It sells land, right? And what does it do? It raises taxes, right? You got to bring people in. You got to raise taxes. You have to have production. You know, you have to have production. If Black Wall Street was an example, the money turned over in the Black community like 11 times, right? Black people concentrated in the wealth. That's the whole idea of everything we fought for in America, right? They didn't want Black people being successful among ourselves. If you have money, Black people have money, all our money is made sure it goes back into the white community, because in the black community there's a war zone. You know what I'm saying? You have war zone. You have redlining. Do you understand that up until the Fair Housing Act of 1968,
you've still not answered my question. You keep giving me things that we all think we know. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't want you to have issues. I want a solution. You have not given me an answer.
So first of all, when you say solution, what are you talking about? Are you talking about solution to your problem out in California? You'll say, "Oh, my problem out in Virginia."
No, we're talking about black nationalists, right? Black nationalists believe.
I can tell you my problem, my solution, because the bottom line is this. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing very well in life. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people doing
very well. But it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about a nation of people, black people. So I don't want to hear about you. Tell me about your.
Let's do this, Shirley. Hold on 1 second, Colin. Hold on 1 second, Colin. Sure, let's give him. He has his time. It's 5 minutes. Let's give him his time to answer. And
Dinah, I respect that. All I'm saying is that every time I ask this man a question, he gives me a history lesson. As if he's I'm talking to Dinus. I'm talking to Dinus real quick.
Okay.
So all I'm asking is, if you're gonna have time,
right,
hold this man accountable to the question that I've asked him.
Okay.
Instead of him giving me a rhetoric about his personal life or the history of black people, which we already know. So I'm not gonna debate that.
I understand. Okay, so Colin, can you answer the question? And after you answer the question, you can start into your final.
She just mentioned we're a nation of people, right? She said we're a nation of people, right? She said black people are a nation, right? So if you're a nation of people,
the solutions. You're going on another rant.
You gonna let me spit? You gonna let me talk? You know what I'm saying? You said we're a nation of people, right? And then you said Black Wall Street. We could build a Black Wall Street and not assimilate and not so like that. I'm like, dude, you sound like a black nationalist.
That's what you're saying. I'm asking
you. I mean, you said
some land and you want to do it like a Black Wall Street. Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to understand your solution.
I didn't say that.
I'm trying to understand your solution.
Hold on, you put it out there. I didn't mention Black Wall Street. You did.
That we need to have land and we need to.
I know.
We need to have businesses. I said, so it's like a Black Wall Street that you're proposing. Is that your solution?
When I say land, I mean ultimately.
Okay, but you need to clarify that.
Us now, right? Future generations ought to have a nation of their own. That's I'm a nationalist. I believe black people are capable of governing themselves. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's this continent or the African continent, I believe the future is black people need to govern themselves. We need to police ourselves. We should have our military. We should have all this stuff like this because assimilation into America has failed. Do you agree that integration has failed? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So how do you plan on funding that? So how are you going to fund your proposed idea of solution?
Like I said, if you want to know, you join our organization, the BAIO.
So you can't tell us okay.
You know what I'm saying? No, you're not going to get that on this show. If somebody wants to know how we're talking about,
the honest answer is you don't know, and you don't have.
No, we do know. When you come with
because that's a very simple.
You come to our platform and
you're saying all these hypothetics, but you can't fund them.
Let me ask you a question. You've been here 400 years, right? 400 years. You have 400 years to make this America thing, right? I can hold you more accountable to this because y'all haven't gotten shit and getting your ass kicked for 400 years, and you still want the American flag. You still believe in this country. You know what I'm saying? 400 years, you haven't gotten nowhere, and you still have. We shouldn't even be having this conversation right now. And you're gonna ask me what I'm doing?
You got a solution that you can't share. You can't even tell how you're gonna fund.
I'm saying
your solution to black nationalists. You cannot provide solutions. Okay.
Well, the thing is, you have 400 years. You have 400 years, and you're at ground zero. You're at bottom.
Okay.
You talk about California. I'm like, dang, I know it's so bad out there. I'm like, dang, man. Like,
I'm trying to educate you, and you're attacking me. I don't know why you want to attack me, but let me help you out again. You need solutions, and you need money.
My God.
Black people need money. Now, if you don't think we need no money, that's your issue.
Oh yeah, we need. Oh, definitely we need money. Black people generate 1.2 trillion a year. The problem is black people. Black people do not have a savings. We don't save. We don't put our money in black banks. We don't invest.
Glad you're giving me history. What is the solution?
We don't invest. That's not history. That's a fact. We don't invest. You know what I'm saying? We don't invest.
What is the solution?
You know what I'm saying? You go through, we have investors. You come to our group one now. We have investors. We have everybody showing people how to manage their money. I got a network of people who show you everything about how to do money and everything. But you don't go on those platforms. Or your platform is let's go to the Republican Party. We got black people doing all this stuff like this all the time. We got black people doing everything from finance to business to everything, is making this stuff happen and whatnot. It may not happen in your life or not because you choose to be around white people in the Republican Party, but that don't mean it's not happening.
Now there you go attacking me that I only hang around white people when I probably got more African than you do, and you have no clue who I hang around, and you have no clue of the black people that I know or the wealth that I'm around. A lot of my mentors are black who are very successful, like Gina Laughlin, who wrote a book called The Rat Race. She's a multimillionaire. I have being in California, we are the one of the let me finish. We are the 10th largest economy in the world. So there are a lot of black successful people here. So for you to start attacking, talking about you don't know no black people and you don't know I find that offensive.
Let's do this. I'm doing a terrible job moderating. Hold on, Carla. Let's get back on track. So, Carla, you have about 2.5 more minutes.
Oh, I'm still to talk. Okay.
Right, and then we're gonna give the floor back.
She just answered all her questions. It's a conundrum. What do we do? Then she mentions she knows all these black businesses, everything. I'm like, geez, put 2 and 2 together. You know somebody that's a local millionaire.
No.
Get them together.
I don't need to tell you what I know. You're the black nationalist. I keep asking you for solutions, and you counter-react by trying to come up on me.
I'm telling you
I want to know what you know, because it ain't about me. It's about you. You make it clear it's about you.
I thought I had 2 minutes, Diane.
I want to hear about you some more, because this is what this is about.
He has 2 more minutes.
Let it be about him.
2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
You know,
go ahead, Colin, 2 more minutes.
The whole thing is everything she's saying is she's spouting black nationalist talking points, which I get tired of hearing. You know, sometimes we need to do this, we need to build this, we need to build this, everything. And, you know, and the bottom line is, okay, if you believe black people should come together, and if there's black people out there, remember back in the 1960s,
okay,
there was 2 men that wrote with Martin Luther King in the Big Six. So James Farmer, Whitney Irving Young, and Roy Wilkins. I like Roy Wilkins. You know what I'm saying? Not Whitney Irving Young. He was a true blood. He died in Nigeria under some serious circumstances in swimming pool in 1971. But Whitney Irving Young, to his dying day, did not believe in black nationalism. He believed that the solution for black people in America was colorblind society. He didn't believe in black businesses. He didn't believe in black economics. He didn't believe in any of that stuff. And there's a lot of black people who believe that forming black economics is racism, and that we should basically just become Americans and blend into indivisibility. Now, if you don't agree with that, you believe black people should have businesses and everything like that, Ms. Shirley, right? With all due respect, right? Then you technically are a black nationalist, but you don't want to hang with black nationalists. You know, it's like, I don't get it. You're with the black nationalist crowd, but you don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to help you out here. I'm trying to help you out, sister. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you talk about black people need to do this, we need to pull our vote together, hold people accountable. That's black nationalist politics. The Black Panther Party, you know, you will say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, the other side to that is we're Americans, and just don't even talk about color. And,
all right, Colin, you got 15 more seconds, Colin. 15 more seconds.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. People are nationalists, right? They agree with our ideology, but they don't agree. They just don't understand what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand what we're talking about. They're nationalists. This sister could probably make a good talking point for nationalists, but she doesn't want to talk about it. And also, let me tell you something, right?
Well, no, Kyle, let
we're way over 2 minutes, but I'm just
it's Shirley time. It's Shirley's turn, Colin. All right, go ahead, Miss Shirley. You got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Colin, I'm not disagreeing with you on the historical aspects and failures of the Black community and the successes of that. I get that. But I'm going to tell you what I know I am. I'm a realist, my brother. And the real fact is where we are in 2018, and we don't have a solution. We don't have a gateway to know where we're going. We don't have a plan of action of where we're going. We just continue to talk about the pains of the past and the history that has commenced from that. And that's what I'm constantly hearing from you. I'm constantly hearing from you what you're telling me is about the pain and the past and the history. So let me give people some solutions. Black people have been misled by the Democrat Party, a party that continues to talk about government-imposed program, a party that has set things in place like privatized prisons, Planned Parenthood, and as well as the Republican Party. I'm not disagreeing with Colin when he talked about Ronald Reagan. He talked about Bush. This is something that Trump even talked about, how we have a situation where our infrastructure is not working in our best interest in America, especially Black people. So Black people need to acknowledge those pains. Now that we've acknowledged those pains, we need to start saying, what is our biggest problem? In California, our biggest problem is illegal immigration. And that is why I'm an advocate to wake up our people, of these people who are singing "We Shall Overcome" civil rights songs at city council meetings. Well, I'm trying to wake our people up to know that they ain't paying off the Bloods and Crips to keep the neighborhood safe, but they will pay MS-13 off to keep them safe by giving them $1.5 million. A brother can't sell incense on the street, but they'll let illegal immigrants take grocery carts, which they stole, which will say Vons or Ralph's or whatever names on the grocery store cart, and have illegal fires set in the middle of the street and cook, but the brother can't even take a lighter out and light an incense and sell. See, they have priority issues and we are not them. They are louder than the room that we are, and we're not saying anything. But instead, we want to talk about Black nationalists. However you want to verb it, tie it in a bow, label it, you can do whatever you want. All I'm telling you is I'm a realist. And the real matter of fact is that we're under an administration who we should be putting fire under this man's belly with an executive order or something as far as legislation or lobbyists that can work in our best interest. Look, Omarosa was supposed to represent us. This girl was from Nigeria. Okay, she wasn't representing us and she failed. She failed. He said in November 2016 that he came up with the urban renewal agenda, which had to do with job security and education. But instead, we spent and said, we don't want to work with this man. He's a racist. He's a bigot. These people got money. They got real money to make real moves and real change. And the government has set aside those monies in so many different programs, but we don't take advantage of it. What we do is sit back and talk about each other and who you're swirling and who you're sleeping with. And she ain't really Black. He ain't really Black. I don't understand why you have that same energy that you could take to attack a sister who is out here saying, let's keep it raw and real. And then the other hand, an attack a sister and attack a sister.
Hold on, Kyla, let her finish, Kyla. She has about a minute and 30 more seconds. Kyla, let her finish.
Why a Black man would come on the line and attack his sister on this and attack his sister on that, and they talk about you with the white man, you with the white man, Negro, you might be working for the white man. I'm not here to talk about white or Black. I'm talking about money and economics and social justices that we are not obtaining. And if we can stop identifying all this other stuff and talk about the pain and come up with identifying the laws that are in place to create the solution, to make the change in our people, we'd be better off.
Great. Oh, now let me say something. I did not once talk about swirling the white. Look, I don't go there with that. Everybody knows me. I don't go like that. I like to say I like to have a conversation and respect your point of view. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, in the opposite, I said being a Black conservative, right, is a legitimate point of view.
Hold on 1 second, Shirley. Are you done? Because are you done, Shirley?
Well, he started talking, so I just stopped.
I thought it was my turn.
Okay, because Shirley has another minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Shirley.
If we want to move together and forward as a people, I say this.
Yeah,
we have opportunity. We have a wonderful opportunity with this platform called the Black Conscious Community, with all of us having these different shows. I really think it's relevant today that we continue to communicate, but if we're going to communicate, we need to cut to the chase to the real issues of now, of 2018. So our question to this brother is, again, what is the solutions you have? And I'm going to yield after this. What is the solutions that you have regarding now without telling me the history and the pain, which we already know? And I'm glad you're very versed in that, because I don't want to spend an hour teaching Black history. I want to talk about the hour now, and from now on, as we are talking, of solutions in 2018, that if you're a Black nationalist and you don't want to deal with the government, you don't want to operate under this Constitution, and you don't want to deal with this president, and you don't want to be a Republican or a Democrat, tell me what Black nationalists are going to do to help us now as a solution for everybody, not just for you, but for everyone in the state. Because each state has something different going on.
Sure.
All right, go ahead, Kyle. You got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm cocky too. I'm all my minutes too. And check this out. Now, when you said about Trump, and let me air something out that I never said on this show or whatnot. Just say the other thing. I thought it was a missed opportunity when Trump was basically before his inauguration, right? And even during when he was campaigning, he made overtures to the Black community. You know what I'm saying? But the Black talking heads, the Black Democrats, and all these other people were like, "No, don't listen to it. Don't listen to it." He still got about 8 or 9% of the Black vote. And from what our latest survey, his approval rating on Black America has gone up. And, you know, the bottom line is, I like to see Republicans and Democrats compete for the Black vote. Now, Trump was like saying like this, "No, I'm gonna get beat over the head. I'm gonna get shot for saying this and whatnot." And I'm putting myself out on the limb. You know what I'm saying? Now, when he said, "I want to meet with the Congressional Black Caucus," you know, you guys are, and he basically pulled their card. You know, what are you guys talking about? You guys said that you had all these plans for years that Obama ignored and George Bush ignored and everything like that. And he invited them to the White House and everything like that. Come to find out, the Congressional Black Caucus and all these other people, it was obvious they didn't have a plan, right? So they didn't have nothing to go to Trump with. Why? Because we discovered, as Dinus enlightened us with, is that Maxine Waters' voting district is only, what, 20% Black, you know? So she's basically, her constituency, and Keith Ellison in Minnesota, his constituency is mostly Black immigrants from Liberia, Nigeria, and everything like that, illegals and everything. So that's what they're fighting for. So you got Congressional Black Caucus. They call themselves Congressional Black Caucus, right? But they don't have it. The Black community is only like this, right? And I've told this story, and people know all the time. I said we have not had a Black political agenda since 1988. I know a lot of people don't like going. I tell the story. People get bored all the time. After 1988, Black people lost to the Democratic Party. It's all these special interest groups, the LGBT, the feminists, the abortion rights racket, and all these other people on the base of the Democratic Party. And Black people are just a voting bloc that they depend on, right? Our community, like you said eloquently that our issues are not being addressed in California. I agree with you, you know. And the Democratic Party dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because the bottom line is this: they got a new block of people to try to cater to, which is the illegals. Okay, I agree with that. Look, we're not going to get any argument out of me over there. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, right? I'm like this. I never said that we should disengage from the American system. If we're living in America, I want to basically have all the benefits and all the stuff that America says I have. You know, constitutional rights, civil rights, all these things like this. I believe in getting together with lobbyists and everything. Black people getting what they can and everything. I talked about. I was talking to my friend African Warlord X the other day. I said there's a new pipeline being built between Virginia and it's going to run through North Carolina. It's a natural gas pipeline, and I'm studying it now, right? And there's going to be little substations all along the way, a few hundred miles, right? How much of the contractors are going to go to Black people? The bottom line is this: Donald Trump, the Black Caucus could have been in a position to say, you know something, you got that new Keystone pipeline you're going to build out there. You got this new gas pipeline that you're running through Virginia, North Carolina, and so like this natural gas. How many Black contractors will it get? Nothing's going to happen because why? The Black contractors don't have any power over the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus is controlled by the Democratic National Committee, and they're going to do what they say to do. You know, so we have a disconnect between Black people on the whole and the Black political establishment, and it's been a Black interest, right, and the Black political establishment. Because Lord, God forbid, if Black people use their political power to gain something. The last time that was tried was 1988, right, and Dukakis lost. And then you had David Duke and all the far right wingers country, and that's where the Republicans come in, right? Because if Black people do start making lobbyists for concessions and everything, the right wing in this country threaten to revolt, right?
Caller, you got 30 more seconds, caller. 30 more
So
seconds.
I'm like this, hey, if they're gonna if they're gonna revolt in this country, let them revolt. Let the race war come. You know what I'm saying? If they're gonna do it, because the bottom line is this: saying nothing in the Congressional Black Caucus. I guess like I said, they're done. They didn't go to Donald Trump with anything. Say, yo, look, this is like we have people that lay pipelines. We got black construction companies that want to hire people. We got black gas companies that want to deliver. We had a brother that owned a gas transport business out in Ohio. He's been in 1978. He was one of the largest gas transport, petroleum transport things is Ohio.
All right,
the bottom line we have. So the bottom line is this: we're not organized to the point to get what we want.
Okay, Colin.
So black
right,
nationalism is the answer.
Okay. All right. You want to respond to that, Shirley, or?
Sure. I want to give him one more minute. I want him to answer my question. You are a black nationalist. What is the solution you have? Thank you for the history lesson. Tell me, what is the solution you have in 2018? I'm only going to give you a minute of my time to tell me that you can have that's going to emerge us as an economy and emerge us as far as opportunities.
Well, first of all, there's like I said, there's a whole bunch of different interests. Now, if we basically as black people can look at somebody who's a black businessman who basically is saying, something, it's going to be a lot to lobby the federal government to get this contract, but I'm going to be like a Bill Gates. I got a lot of underlings under me that's going to benefit contractors, investors, and everything. I'm going to create a whole. See, the thing is, when white people create wealth, they make other white people rich. If Donald Trump puts up a tower, excuse me, they got other people, electricians and builders and developers who make money and things. We're not organized on that level, right? What we can do with the BAIO as an infrastructure, right, is create the context for which if you do have somebody who's an investor or a builder and everything, the black community gets behind it. Why? Because the wealth will trickle down to the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that in Black America because we always look in side eyes at black people who are successful. You know what I'm saying? In this country. So the bottom line is, if I was a black Republican, I would love nationalism. You know what I'm saying? If everybody nationwide, worldwide would support you just because you're black and everything, you would gain big. Black businesses basically talk about.
Okay, so that's
I'm going
to take my time now.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to take my time now. We have an administration right now that's a capitalist. Donald Trump, no doubt, everyone has to agree that he is a capitalist. And one reason he was elected to be president is because we identify for those who voted for him, at least I'll speak from my point, and those who represent who are Trumpicans, looked at the fact that we are a global economy and that America has been abused and taken advantage of, and other countries have leveraged against us, and yet we have not been able to come into an agreement or leverage against them. Under this administration, we as black people, and I'm telling you what we're doing right now as African-American Republicans, we are coming together and we're communicating. They just had a big announcement in Washington to try to deal with Maxine Waters. I know that district because I grew up in that district. She has changed districts so many times, but just to let you know, it's 46% Latino and 26% Blacks. But they have a little under 500,000 registered voters in her district, and only 55,000 people voted for her. So that tells you ain't nobody really voting for Maxine. And then Omar Navarro, who is Latino, who is a Republican, who is not supporting illegal immigrants, he acquired, I think, about 18%. Now, in saying that, you need to understand that in these districts, it takes one basket to win a basketball. So it could be 5 people versus 1. She would still win. Majority of people in her district don't really even listen to her, but she has a national platform and she abuses that platform. If we as black people want to move forward, we have to hold where we live, no matter what ethnic background they are, accountable for what they're not doing for our people. And I'm going to agree with the brother in this. As black people, we need to say, if the Chinese can get something, the Jewish people can get something, the Latino Americans can get something, the Armenians can get something, why can't we get something? But if we don't have a proposed plan on the table, if we can't come together as a proposed plan to work within this system, I believe you have to work within this system. And I'm a Trumpican. I'm more of a Trumpican than a Republican under under Bush or under Ronald Reagan and going back to that past. I'm dealing with the issues now of opportunity, because I know my parents owned a business for over 40 years. I know that people in this country depend on governmental programs. They depend on EBT cards, and they depend on all these programs to help them situate their life. If we as Black people can sit down and say, hey, well, let's teach you a little bit about S corporations, LLCs. Let's talk about NLP, neurological programming. Let's talk about kinetics. Let's talk about wealth from the nth degree by just watching certain YouTube videos and YouTube channels you can go to, like House Flipping Guy. There's an African-American man that's wonderful that I watch. He talks about house flipping. I enjoy him. There's other ones that talk about leveraging governmental contracts that we as Black people should go to. I'm gonna look him up on my phone in a second, and I want you to go watch his channel. We can see learning from each other than go against and constantly beating up on each other. As far as you have yet to tell me, my brother, what, instead of a hypothetical or what we could do, I want to know what you are doing in 2018 now with Black nationalists, because I can tell you what I'm doing. If you go to urbangamechangers.com, you can see that. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see my videos. If you go to Urban Game Changers channel, you can see that. And you can also see that on the 5 to 10 Urban Game Changers pages we have on Facebook, on top of the 30,000 people close to following me on Twitter. So I'm definitely getting a voice out there of the pain and anguish. But on the other hand, the solution comes from our side, is working with an administration who identifies our people's pain. Not so much the Black legislators that you mentioned earlier, talking about the CBC and the ACLU. They're gonna still be talking on all that stuff all they want. But some people don't live in districts who are ran.
You got about 30 more seconds, Shirley.
Some people are not ran by districts that are controlled by Black people. But I'm saying, as African Americans, when we need to solidate ourselves and say, these are the issues in our community and we want to address them, and we want them addressed now.
Let me say something.
and then so, after you, let me start this clock over. After you respond, Kyle, I have a question from the chat room, but go ahead.
All right, now,
solutions.
Like I said, when you say solutions, you're talking about a conundrum, right? You're talking about, you just gave me all the problems in California, this and the other thing, When you say solutions, that's a very vague and abstract thing. That's very vague and abstract. What's the solutions? I don't know what the solutions is for everybody in California. I don't know what your situation is, you know what I'm saying? And when you say collective, what you're doing is, when you say, on one hand, you say, okay, us, right? Us, this and the other thing. And then when somebody says, okay, there is an us, right? So therefore, we can basically say, something, let's withdraw from the system, whatever. No, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? We're part of this thing. Well, who's the us then? Who's the we? You know what I'm saying? It's only we in the abstract. In other words, basically, white people look at Black America like it's a mess. You know what I'm saying? This is what white people look at it.
Well, it is a mess.
Hold on. Let's scale that down a little bit, right? Not every Black community is in a mess. You know what I'm saying? Then we have record. Hold on.
You need to come together as a collective.
Shirley, let him finish. Shirley, let him finish.
You don't let me finish.
And you trying to go after the
what you're doing.
Shirley, let him finish. Shirley, let him finish. Please, let him finish.
What you're doing is you're taking white supremacy talking points, right? Black America's a mess, right? But that's not all of Black America.
I'm not talking talking points.
That's all. When you said Black America is a mess, you're talking about all of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I did a video and I was very clear in my video about this.
That's all that. So all you're doing is looking at Black America through the prism of what white people think, and you think it's your job to sort of, we gotta do this, because you want to make white people happy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So we come from that standpoint, you're never gonna solve a problem.
I want to make white people happy. That's what you're saying.
Why don't you acknowledge the fact that there's more successful Black communities in America than there are failures. We have record numbers of kids graduating from college and entering the IT field right now.
Why don't you acknowledge to me what the nationalists
about what I'm doing?
Well, let him finish, Miss Shirley. Please, Miss Shirley. I'm pretty pleased, Miss Shirley, if you can finish and then you can respond. Pretty please. All right.
You know what I'm saying? We have people record numbers of black kids who are going into the sciences and the STEM fields. So I'm saying record numbers of black kids graduating from high school, college, and everything. And the number of black males, they said black males, CNN did a report on black males improvement over the last, I would say, 10 years. It's an improvement. But what you see in the media is, oh, black mass incarceration. Black people have to say something. That's what they put out there. There's lots of black people who are doing well. Instead of saying, you know something, those black people who are doing well, let's make that the face of black America. What you're doing is saying what the white people do. You'll say, oh, black America. You go, oh, black America. What y'all gonna do? What y'all do? Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Let me break this down to you right now, right here. White America, in many ways, is doing worse than black America. You can go to parts of Kentucky, parts of Western Pennsylvania, parts of Ohio and everything. These people are strung out on drugs, strung out on everything and everything. They're broken down. They got all kinds of things, benefit and everything. And they got white privilege.
Kala, I promise you I'm not going to take away your time, but I got to stop you right there. Have you been to Skid Row in LA?
Yeah, that's LA. That's LA.
But I'm telling you, until
I saw it.
Kala, let me finish. Until you, like, Skid Row is the worst. I've been to about 11, 12 African countries. Skid Row is the worst. I've been to so-called third world countries. Skid Row is by far the worst I've ever seen. I live here in the deep south in Georgia.
And look at San Francisco. Look at San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying. But it's majority black. Even the numbers in San Francisco for homeless, the majority is black.
Okay, but check this out. But my point is this though. But that's still not the face of black America. You know what I'm saying? The difference between that is this: you go down to places, you go to places of rural Alabama, the Appalachian. You got white people strung out on crystal meth, people having work, living on government assistance and everything. I can take you to parts of Denver. I work with these my clients, poor white people that live in trailer parks and everything. I mean, the majority. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, my God, complete poverty and everything like that. They still voted for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Go to places like Kansas City, when people go to places like Kentucky, where if they basically took away the affordable health care, people would literally die. And they're still talking about, yeah, let's change and repeal and place Obamacare and all kind of nonsense. So white America, the world covers for white America. You know what I'm saying? They got problems too. But the bottom line is this: when it comes to black people and whatnot, they want us to solve problems, right? Absent of government and power. If I had power, right? If I was in power, there would be no black people on Skid Row. You know what I'm saying? The problem is we don't have power. You know what I'm saying? We're not in the majority. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, the fact that we're a minority group and we're doing this that tells a lot. But white people got more people who are living in poverty. The largest number of poor, and I found this out, I was shocked. The majority of poor in the state of Virginia are white. You know what I'm saying? And the lower income, the lowest poor districts in Virginia are white. Or rural white counties. You know what I'm saying? Most of the white people move to black.
Kyle, I'll give you. Well, Kyle, time is up. All right, Shirley. Let me ask this question from the chat room. This is a good question, I think. Trump will be out of office in 6 years. Trump is going to win the election again. My honest opinion. But then what after Trump leaves? What Brother Amir Ross said, it makes sense. The issues with Black America runs deeper than a president. So absolutely. After Trump, then what's next? I mean, that's why he's like, why even waste your time voting Republican or run out of supporting Trump? Because he's going to be out of there in 6 months. So go. You have 5 minutes, Shirley, if you want to.
Okay, so on one hand, we're talking about the past of the history. And now you wanted me to ask a question based on hypothetics of what's going to happen 6 years from now.
It's up to you. I mean, I thought it was a good question.
I'm just laying out the ground rule of how I'm going to answer this.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, we have one brother, Colin, who continues to talk about past history and that white people tell me how to talk. I've got a grown adult children. My parents are from the South. My daddy is from Louisiana. My mama's from Arkansas. But white people tell me how to talk. I find that fascinating. But that's what you think. So you go ahead and live in that notion, my brother. I'm gonna let you live in that notion because white people don't tell me how to talk. If anything, if you ain't learned that by watching me on Fox News or CNN and how I tell white people how I actually feel and how some call me militant, you need to do your homework, boo-boo, because that ain't me. White people don't tell me how to talk. but to talk about the past, and then you guys want me to give a hypothetics. What's going to happen 6 years after Trump? I'm not even thinking about that question. I want to tell you what I can get from this man now. What can we hold as an accountability to what we're not getting from Black elected officials who claim to be doing something for Black people? The reason why Black elected officials aren't doing anything for Black people, because we can look at the Congressional Black Caucus to do something when the Congressional Black Caucus are congressional leaders elected by their local people. This is what I'm talking about. You need to understand local, state, and federal. Local people elected these elected officials to work in their best interest. And then the Black Caucus has the Black Caucus Foundation. And I did a video on my YouTube channel called Omarosa Buffoonery, and I give you a breakdown of that. When I talk about opportunities of collusion and collaboration, well, the Latino community do. The Latino community has a thing called the Latino Coalition, which I did a video on that. And if you go to my YouTube channel, and this is a year and a half ago, I did this video, and I talked about how Trump sat down with them, and they talked about money and numbers and economic opportunities. When it comes to Trump, he had to sit in front of the Congressional Black Caucus, and they talked about you need to give us and give us and give us. You know, when you're dealing with people with money and power, you better bring something to the table. You're talking about playing a chess, an intellectual chess game of money and acquisitions and mergers versus sitting down talking about government post products and monies to just fix a sore within the Black community. Black people are smarter, sharper, more in tune to that. But we don't leverage what we have to our best interest. What we do is beat each other up and beat each other up. And a brother can continue to tell you about history of our past. If we want to live in those pains, go for it. But for those who understand that we have an administration that we need to leverage to our best interest, we need to have conversations about that. We need to have conversations about how we can get governmental grants or governmental programs and sense to work in our best interest, meaning that there are contracts that we can acquire and those programs can work for us and not against us. If we're not taking the time to identify that, why are we even having this conversation? But instead, we keep talking about white supremacists. I ain't denying that we got white supremacist issues. I am not denying that we're being harassed. I am not denying that we're going to still be harassed and killed and shot and that guns are still flowing in our community. But what I'm saying to you is, if you as Black nationalists want to do something, you have yet to give me a solution instead of a history lesson. You have yet to tell me by saying, well, you said this and you said that. Tell me what you can say that you have on your side to bring to the table. Because as far as my side, I know it takes money and numbers to change this country. And I know it takes good common sense versus attacking people talking about white talking points when we live in freaking a land of America. You tell me that, Negro.
Oh, I think I was getting a little hostile there.
I didn't call your name. I didn't call your name. But white supremacists talk for me. But no. You said white supremacists talk for me.
Yeah, and I believe that.
No, you believe that. Okay. So you think white supremacists talk like I just talked? You think white supremacists come up in my face and say,
Colin, technically Shirley has a minute. She has a minute still. Go ahead, Shirley. You have a minute.
I haven't finished my time.
You got a minute.
White people gonna come in my face and tell me, you talk just like us. Well, I am not one of them. Or you can look at me and tell I'm more Black than anything. So all of a sudden I'm gonna try to conform. I ain't no light-skinned sister that can conform. I can't do all that. Okay, even the dark ones who want to conform. What is the point of that? When I see people hurting in LA, you ain't even been to LA. You ain't even been to Skid Row. You ain't seen babies on the street. You ain't seen whole Black families homeless down on Skid Row. And you just took 2 minutes talking about poor white trash people. What do I give a care about some poor ass white trash people? You spent 2 minutes.
Hold on. I'm trying to say.
White trash. Negro, let me finish.
Colin, she has 20 seconds, Colin. Give her 20 seconds.
I'm gonna educate you on some niggas hurting in the street. You want to hear about niggas hurting on the street?
20 seconds.
You're being ignorant.
Oh, now I'm ignorant because I'm talking about the pain of black pain. I'm giving you the energy.
I'm trying to give you.
You won't even let me finish my thought.
You're being ignorant.
You're not even letting me finish my thought.
Caller, give her 10, 15 seconds.
Now
15
you're
seconds.
calling me names. I never called you names. I said Negro. Maybe you're not a Negro. Maybe you are something else. Maybe you're an implant from the white supremacists to claim to be a black nationalist.
Oh wow!
I don't know that. I don't know that. But I do know this much.
Collins not an implant.
Can I finish my thought?
You're reaching.
Can I finish my thought?
Okay, Colin.
You're losing credibility. I started to give you respect. You're losing respect.
Colin, hold on. Let's let black people, beautiful black people, let's be respectful. Beautiful black people, let's be respectful. I would expect an argument like this between if we had a liberal on here, but conservatives and nationalists, we have class. So let's be respectful. I'm giving you time, Colin. I'm giving you time, brother. I love you. I'm gonna give you time. I love you like a play cousin. I got you. You know, but we can't. Don't call him a Negro. We can't do that.
Okay, I shouldn't call him a Negro. Okay.
Well, just don't call him that.
Don't call him black.
Let's stop.
What do I call him? Just call him.
Let's stop the name calling. There you go. Let's stop the name calling. There we go.
Okay, I didn't know Negro was an offensive word to use in a black group discussion, so I won't say Negro and I won't say black. I'll just say Colin if that makes
There you go.
Because then that way he won't call me ignorant for calling him a Negro because he's in self-denial. But I'll leave that alone.
Okay.
But like I said, the pains that are going on in California, to sit back and tell me 2 minutes of you tell me about white trailer trash compared to the pains going on in LA, and you're not even open to understand our pain. I'm open to understand other states' pains. That's why I understand that each state has something different going on. But the person getting hurt the worst are the 6% blacks that are still left here in California.
Okay, so with that, let me ask, Colin, can I ask a question? Oh, no, in fact, okay, Colin, let me ask you this question because it was stated in the chat room. I mean, the black population in Cali is dwindling, is down to 6%. So, Colin, you have 5 minutes. Should there be a black sit out of California? I know black people are moving.
I don't know the situation in California. But what I'm saying, let me
okay, you got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Let me say this, right? Black people in California, the problem in California has been going on for like a couple. You got mute. Been going on for like a decade or so. You know what I'm saying? You had gang violence, Bloods and Crips, and everything like that, and the black people left Crenshaw and all these other places. The Latinos moved in, right? You had gentrification. Latinos moved in. Black people moved out of California. Whatever, said forget it. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere we go, we get chased out of our communities. Whatever. There's no so-called black communities. You know what I'm saying? There's no so-called black community. What you see is the leftovers and things. Now, what I get offended by is when I said that about the white people and everything like that. I could take a camera, right, and get on TV, and all this stuff is driven by white racists. You know what I'm saying? Make no mistake about it. The people that are black conservatives, also black conservatives, are basically catering to white racists. White racists want to hear you talk about all these black problems. The white teenage pregnancy rate is high too. You know what I'm saying? They got heroin addiction. They got all these things. The crime rate, school shootings, all these things they do. Now, am I talking up for white people? No. I'm talking about this. We talk about the dirt in their community the same way they throw the dirt in our community. You know what I'm saying? But they have a way of making it seem like all the problems that happen to black America, you know what I'm saying, it's just so bad. We got to come up with the solutions and everything. We're not in power. You know what I'm saying? They're in power and they still fall off the end of the earth. You know what I'm saying? But then all they want to do is make it seem like, oh, we got to do this for the black community. We're doing what the hell we can in this country with the hand we're dealing with. You're 12% of the population. You're never going to basically save every last single black person. This is a residual effect of slavery and Jim Crow, all these things like here. The burning of our communities, the burning of lynching. Yeah, I'm going to talk about history because history is relevant. The white people had everything given to them. They had Homestead Act loans. They had government loans after World War II, GI loans to help white people establish homes and everything, and they're falling off the cliff. But yet, every time I look on TV and I see everybody buck dancing on Fox News about, well, we got to do this in the black community. We got to do this in the black community. We got to do this. Why don't somebody ever say what we got to do in the freaking white community? You know what I'm saying? Why they always got to put our community? Why is our community always got to be on display? Now, if you was talking about, okay, this is what we have and this is what we want to preserve from that standpoint, I can see. But you're not even connected with any sort of successful black community. You got DeSoto, Texas, thriving black community right now. You got Sag Harbor in Long Island, thriving black community that's been there for generations and everything in Long Island, just that rivals the Hamptons, everything. No one knows about that. But every time you talk about, oh, black, you said black Americans are a mess. No, not all black Americans are a mess. Some parts of black America is in a mess, just like some parts of white America is in a mess. You know what I'm saying? Us black nationals are like this. Let's build what we have and stick with each other. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. You ask a solution, that's what we're talking about. You know, and if we get a plan, somebody, it happens organically. If we have a plan, somebody has an idea of a business, we'll get behind that person. And it's happening. You know what I'm saying? It's happening. You got all kinds of people doing other things. People don't even like, we talk about our brother Jay Morris and whatnot. We agree or disagree about that brother, but at least he's doing something. You know what I'm saying? Raising capital, venture capital groups and everything. We have all kinds of people that are doing stuff like that. I'm in network with them every day. We got people, you talk about, it's the global world. The only people that shouldn't be a part of the global economy is black people. We got black people that are living on the African continent right now who are doing business. You got black people living in Dubai, Japan, some of everything. Black people are not a monolith that you can just put in package up to white America and say, please, Mr. White Man, please deliver us something. Now, I gave you credit when I said the question where I called missed the opportunity when they sat down with Trump, because I do believe Trump was sincere about what he said about helping black America, but they missed the ball. You know what I'm saying? And that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can go back and forth about Congressional Black Caucus. I don't like them either. But to sit here and talk about, you know, we got to get out there and we got to do this and you're going to bash me, and the solution is, let's go sign up and vote Republican. That's the end game for you. We got to vote Republican.
I never said that either.
All right, okay, Kyla, you got 30. You got 45 more seconds, Kyla. 45 more seconds.
I didn't say that.
So what's your end game? Do you want black people to vote Republican or not? You know what I'm saying?
I want black people to vote conscious in their best interest. That's how black people should vote. That's how black people
decide that the Democrats are their best interest.
The Democrats do not have the black people's interest in mind.
But right or wrong, you have not made your case why the large numbers of black people should switch the party.
You have an echo in the background. Say it again.
I said you have not made your case why. I don't like the Democrats either. You know what I'm saying? But you have not made your case why black people should vote switch parties at this point in junction.
I'm not, and I have no case because I'm not trying to tell you to switch parties. What I'm telling you to do is think about the economic issues and the economy issues and the things that are going socially in your community first. Because if you can identify the sources, I'm answering the question the way I want to answer. Unlike you might think I'm going to give you an answer to it. I believe that black people should vote.
He answers that.
Okay. So whose turn is it?
Hold on, Kyla.
He keeps telling him.
Kyla, it's Shirley's turn. But I mean, Kyla, you wanted to close out. Like, yeah, I'll give you 15 seconds. You want to close out with 15 seconds?
Yeah, I was saying the black community has issues and everything like that. But the whole thing is they're just turning tail and just jump into another party is not it at this point in juncture right now. We have issues that need to be addressed and everything, but you know, just turn tail, jump in the party right now is not the thing. And I want to know if that was the debate tonight, you know.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Shirley.
Okay, so we as African Americans have to think of it from this perspective. How can we bring everybody to the table? The wealthy blacks, the middle class blacks, the poor blacks. Because to not acknowledge the poor and the pain is in denial of oneself. To not to acknowledge the poor and the pain is a denial of oneself. If we want to give the illusion that everything's rosy and peaches for every black person across the country, then we deny the pain. And that's not what God would want us to do. I don't look at Fox News for my news. I look to my news to talk to my community. I get out on the streets. I do study social media. But social media is not my primary source. Mainstream media is not my main source. It's understanding, and you're not going to hear about them talk about the fire bombs in the black community. You're not going to hear about the buses driving in black communities, knocking on old people black door, talking about, I'll pay you 3 times the amount of money for your house. You're not going to hear about that on the news, about how these chain migration of visas have caused such a filtration of immigrants in black communities that they're going to come to your community next. Because if California goes, then the rest of the country goes as well. So my perspective is this: you have to come up with a solution, and we have to see if we can coexist as people from different wealth aspects. And I respect the fact that there are other wealth groups that are out there. We can share all those groups, and I think that's great. That's a different show. I'm talking about a conservative point of view. I'm talking about traditional families, Black families, alpha Black males and alpha Black men and women, and worker bees and queens and kings that can sit to the table at the table and say, look, we have some issues, and this government, this president needs to be known of these issues. And we need to come to the table and propose policies that are going to work in our best interest. For example, the RAISE Act. That act stops all this chain migration so our elderly people in Los Angeles can stop being harassed. For example, we need to talk about Shirley Webb, who is a Democrat assemblywoman who has a proposed bill regarding police who are targeting us. I think it's an AB 931. You guys can look that bill up. She has a proposed bill in California to stop police brutality after Stephen Clark had occurred. See, these are things that I like to talk about that are going to bring change and commit power to our people from a local level. From a federal level, they don't understand that because they're dealing with national issues. Okay, if we're going to talk about Black people, when we do have a seat at a national level, we should at least bring all these different collective components together and say, Mr. Trump, we have successful Blacks, we have middle-class Blacks, and we got middle-class poor, but there are policies that are divisive, and these are our policies that we want to have addressed, and these are proposed policies that we want to move forward on.
Hold on. Miss Shirley, are you done? You still have about 2 more minutes.
No, I'm good.
You good? All right. Go ahead, Connie. But we'll do one more round and then we'll close out.
Number one, to me, right now, the only difference between the white community that's suffering and the Black community suffering is that there's an awful lot of guns, right? Guns and criminals on the Black side of things. There's white criminals too, but the bottom line is this: we have a system that has said it's okay for Black people to have guns, and kids as young as 8 and 9, 7, 8 years old getting shot by stray bullets and getting shot in school, guns in elementary school. All this stuff is going on in Black America, right? And you say, where are these guns coming from? They're coming because gun manufacturers have to produce guns and they got to go someplace. You know what I'm saying? And the black market gun market, the black market gun industry is protected by the NRA. You know what I'm saying? The NRA basically is protected by gun manufacturers who are rednecks, who are basically all about the hypocrisy. Just like you got these somebody who calls himself conservative and everything, but yet the guy who runs the Bunny Ranch out in Nevada, running as a Republican, but he's a Bunny Ranch operator. You know the guy who runs the prostitution house. All this freaking hypocrisy I hear about so much. I don't want to hear anything about any Republican Party or anything like that. They're all garbage to me. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is that there is no we currently at this time. We studied just now. Some black communities are doing pretty well. Some black communities are doing really bad. You know what I'm saying? Each community has to come and look within itself and see how we can get together and see what is the way forward. What is the way forward? I believe that ultimately, party ways with America is going to be the way forward. You know what I'm saying? I do believe Black America, our relationship with America is on life support. And I believe the next stage of Black America is a revolution, basically cutting ties with America and moving forward. Now, the Black people who are doing good in America, hey, those are the ones that basically stay, do whatever you want to do, build, stuff like that. Those are the ones we want to be successful with. But the bottom line is the majority of Black people are not going to fit into the Black community, and they're not going to fit, and definitely not going to fit into the white community. As we see now, I didn't know this, but I learned something new now. But how did the hell is illegal immigration gentrifying Black communities? I did not know that. I know legal immigrants are bringing in illegal immigrants, right? Because they got a business going on here. They're hiring them, they're staffing them, and everything, and they're colonizing former black communities with illegal aliens, but it's not them coming across from the border.
Kyle, you got 45 more seconds. Go ahead.
Gentrifying so-called black communities and everything like that. Hey, look, the bottom line is this. We basically, there is no we right now. Some black people are doing well, some black people are not. Some black people think long term we have to start thinking of nationalism. Now, what is nationalism, right? Everything the sister said is nationalism. We need to hold people accountable. We need to form black businesses. We need to do that. That's nationalism. That's one part of that. Nationalism always isn't just let's get the hell out of here and build a nation. It's also the same thing as the Chinese. The Chinese have social clubs. They have a business clubs. They have all these things right there that they network together. That's part of black nationalism. You know what I'm saying? That's part of black nationalism.
All right, Carla. That's time. Well, see, this is what we'll do. Everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us. We have 198 people watching. We just had 200 people watching, but I guess some people left. But what we'll do, we'll go ahead and in fact, we'll rock for about 15 more minutes. Now, Shirley, how do you feel about it's time to ditch America and build in Africa? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I can't focus on that. You know what? I'm going to hold these white people accountable to the day they die. I am not going to forget the pain of my ancestors. I'm not going to forget the black people whose bones were cracked and broken in this country, who were hung unnecessarily, who were dragged out of their houses by Ku Klux Klan members and crosses burned in the front yards. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget the black people who built the railroad or who designed Washington, D.C. I'm not going to forget the blacks who are inventors in this country. I'm going to hold all these people accountable and grab their balls and say that you realize that black people, not immigrants, we're not immigrants. We are children of the indigenous slave tribe. We are here as commodity, and we are not getting our just dessert. And if they're going to say, okay, so what do you want? Because that's basically the problem. All we keep talking about is what you're going to do for us. No one has a solution or a strategy or a proposed plan. I believe by having conversations like this, we can come up with a proposed plan. This brother keeps saying, I'm talking black nationalists, black nationalists. Black conservatives were around a long time before this black nationalists. Who's to say
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Black conservatives.
Let her finish, Carla. Let her finish.
This is where we go. Are you? Can I talk now?
Hey, go ahead, Carla. Let her finish, and then you can respond. Carla, let her finish. Carla, let her finish.
Before you finish.
Carla, let her finish, bro. Let her
finish my thought. When we come to having power within this country, which we still have not as much as we should, as we know, but let's go back to when blacks were, since you like to do a history lesson, let's go back to who were the first party to give black people the right to vote, which was the Republican Party. And that party had conservative values back behind it, as well as liberal viewpoints back behind it. Look, if we can come to now to an issue of today, the things that I'm saying, I'm not studying from a black nationalist point of view. I'm studying from an American living point of view, a historical point of view of my life, of my father's life, of my father's father's life. I'm not going to sit back and say that I don't want to work with white people. White people have money. White people, some of them want to give us their money. Some of them want to buy some of our services and goods from their money. Some of them want to hire us just based because we are black. I say that we should utilize any card and every card that we have to get. And if we can do that and come to a strategy of understanding that, I think that we're better off. And why would you not hold this administration to a higher yield of accountability for what we need for our people? Why would you not do that? Why would you sit back and say, we're white, we're black nationalists, and we're only just going to focus on black people only? We're focusing on black people only, but we're still within the system that is set up to work for us if we know how to manipulate it for us versus telling them, well, what are you going to give us? We need to say, this is what we want. We need to tell the government from local, state to federal, these are the things that we want in our community and we want them now.
Ms. Shirley, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, and so Carla, you can respond, and then after that, we'll I'll ask one more question after that, and then we'll close out. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The idea of black nationalism is the oldest ideology in Black America. You know, there was no black conservatives in the 1700s, in the 16th century, and all these other people, Prince Hall Masons, and all these people that formed the AME church and everything. These people were not talking about this. In fact, when you read my book, my novel, right, my novel that I wrote, right, and I went into a background on this, right, I said that right around the time of Reconstruction, right, the majority of black people had no affection or no allegiance to the United States of America. Allegiance to America and everything didn't come until after post World War II with FDR. You know what I'm saying? Before that, you had black nationalist groups like Marcus Garvey. The largest movement, mass movement in black history was Marcus Garvey, 10 million members. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Even you had a liberal W.E.B. Du Bois. You know what I'm saying? They had a huge following. And when you say black conservative and everything at the time, whatnot, where was the black conservatives at? You know what I'm saying? Who can you tell me as a black conservative icon to make your case? You made a comment that black conservatives been around a long time. Who was the black conservative? You know, Shirley wasn't Frederick Douglass. He was a liberal. You know, somebody who Shirley wasn't Booker T. Washington. He was a progressive. He wanted change. You know, none of these people were saying, you know, everything's great with America. You know what I'm saying? When you say words like black conservative, I have not heard you in all the 2 hours been on tonight articulate what you mean by black conservative. It's like you're talking from a vantage point of what white people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You say
I don't talk from a vantage point of what white people want to hear.
Well, you haven't articulated what black conservative
I speak out of my mouth. Stop saying that.
Shirley, Sister
I'm
Shirley.
Gonna sit back and let this boy tell me I talk from a vantage point of what white people tell you to say.
Shirley, let
so
him
you're
finish.
a good
Sister
Negro,
Shirley.
and you know that
Sister Shirley, let him finish.
Oh, really?
Sister
Man,
Shirley,
it's 2018.
let him finish.
It's 2018, dog. Serious.
Sister
Shirley.
Shirley.
That's a disrespect to me. That's a disrespect.
Okay. Sister Shirley, I'll apologize.
I'm from the hood. Ain't nobody
can we continue? We gotta continue.
For me? What the hell is that about? You better rephrase that question. Try saying something.
Well, let me rephrase.
White man.
I apologize. Let me rephrase.
He apologized. Sister Shirley, do you accept Kyle's apology so we can move
Let the boy
forward?
finish the thought. Let go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm being a gentleman tonight. I'm taking a lot of abuse. You know, I normally I go at people when it comes to women. It's hard to debate women. All right, no, not being sexist.
Come on.
Not being sexist. I'm not doing that. I'm being nice.
That's your problem. You got a strong black woman.
Come on.
Okay, I just know what I'm dealing with. Now I know.
You're a beautiful black woman.
That's right. You're gone. Go on, brother. You got a strong black woman. Okay.
I wish you was a black nationalist and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You be on point.
You're a black nationalist that got a problem with a black woman.
No.
You just said that.
I got problem with conservatives. You know what I'm saying? Conservatives. I got problem with black conservatives.
Now a black conservative woman. Okay.
Conservative.
Am I conservative more than I am black? Let me know.
Oh no. What I'm saying, my point I'm trying to make is this. My point I'm trying to make is this though. A lot of people, and I understand, they want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? They want to fit in. They want to fit into America. They want to be. They think. Look, I appreciate the fact that you're optimistic. You know what I'm saying? You're optimistic about what you're saying and stuff like that. You need people like that. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is you end up being used by people who are racist, who want to paint. And that's the problem with people like Larry Elder. Now, I know that you are a big fan about Larry Elder. You know
hell to no, I ain't no fan of Larry. Larry Elder is a libertarian. He's not even a Republican.
No, Larry Elder sits there.
So I'm not a Larry Elder fan. I'm aware of him, know him, but I'm not an advocate for Larry Elder, nor am I an advocate for Jesse Lee Peterson, Uncle Ruckus.
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say Jesse Lee Peterson. Both of them got me kicked off Twitter for a week. You know, both of them got me kicked off Twitter for a week. You know, got me kicked off Twitter for a week. You know, so I'm pissed off. You know what I'm saying? So the bottom line is this. Bottom is you got these over that now. Let me tell you something. My black conservative heroes, like I told Dynasty, right? Dynasty will verify this, is J.C. Watt, you know what I'm saying? Colin Powell, you know what I'm saying? I like Alan West, you know what I'm saying? He seems like a respectable person. He don't sit there and bash black people, don't bash his community and everything like that. He just talks from a nationalist, American patriot point of view. Hey, look, if you're going to be an American patriot and everything, you have every right to be a flag waving, flag saluting, black patriot. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say is this, though. The majority of black people are turning towards black national ideology. And you guys basically got to learn to live with that. You got to learn to tell your white friends when because they all they do is sick dudes like Kevin Jackson on us and everything. Oh, see, they're talking black national. Go in there and disrupt it. Hey, Dennis, you got me on. You got to mute me, brother.
Okay, well, all right, Colin, you got one more minute, Colin, and then
Yeah,
we got the final question.
So what you have is these black conservatives, right? I call them conservatives. You know what I'm saying? They go around, and they spew out, but not saying the sister right here, not saying the sister right here, not saying you, sister Shirley. They go around spewing white supremacy talking points. Black people are no good. Black man, this, that, and the other thing. You even had white conservatives going into chat rooms where black men and black women are arguing about different things, and they're going in there. Yeah, the black man's no good and all that. They don't want to see black America. If they just want to disrupt, they don't care about fixing the black community. All we are is a distraction that they don't know how to deal with. You know what I'm saying? They'll never look at their problems in their so-called community as the same thing. I saw a white conservative, our boy Chris Miller. Some white guy made a comment to him one night, and he broke down the statistics in white America. And this guy said, you know what this guy said? He said, why is it going to be about color? Well, you brought it up. You talked about all the problems in black America. I just busted you talking about these are problems in white America.
Let's
and now you want to talk about now color issue.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, I agree. There is a conservative problem in the Republican Party, but we got coons in the Liberal Party too. I mean, the Democratic Party.
Oh
too.
yeah, I agree.
On both sides. I mean, there's plenty of coons over there. Your boy Roland Martin. You know, for every Larry Elder, there's a Roland Martin.
Yeah,
every Van Jones.
But I gotta give
they're on both sides.
But check this out. Roland Martin ate Larry Elder to death, man. I wasn't right in the debate. He killed Larry Elder. I was like, whoa. I wasn't expecting that. You know?
Well, let me ask this last question. It's in regards to reparations. I ask you first, Shirley, and then we'll close. And then after you answer, you have 5 minutes each one of you. And after you answer towards the end of the answer, just close out, give your contact information, all that good stuff. Miss Shirley, do you think, I guess, being a black conservative or moving towards black conservatism, whatever you want to call it, that we should get behind reparations, and that's something that the Republicans, I guess, will support? Do you think that's something that could happen for black people in America if they move towards a conservative agenda?
I think that Black America is in its best position because Mr. Trump is a disruptor. And a lot of things he's disrupting, we're getting the benefits of. And many YouTubers have talked about this. So I'm very grateful for this administration for that. But in saying that, I will say this much. In order for us to get any benefits, we have to have a solution. We need to have a strategy. We need to have an agenda. When you use that word reparations, we should receive reparations. We need to have clarity in that in conjunction to 2018. We know what was stated in the past, 40 acres and a mule, but how do we take that to Alexis and 20 acres in Malibu or something? You know, what are we really saying when we're asking that? Right now, I'm concerned about being genocide. You're talking about reparations. I'm talking about we are becoming genocide in California. We're dealing with someone who has taken a protective class law and legislation that has been put in place for Black people, and now they're claiming it. They're claiming to be protective people. They're claiming kumbaya. This is what I'm dealing with: illegal immigrants using civil rights agendas as well as the gays agenda to use against us and not working with us, and basically saying you have to work with us and help us first. You know, these are the things I'm hearing on the community side in California. So yes, I believe it's possible if we come up with a strategy, if we sit down and put a proposed plan together. If you go to the Latino Coalition, go to their website, you will see that they have proposed strategies and plans of action. Instead, we have Black people who talk about governmental programs and what you gonna give me. Do you think we're gonna we'll get those? We won't get them if we don't have a plan of strategy. If we won't get them if we don't sit down and say, this is the reason why and what we need next and how we're gonna accomplish it. I think that is the strategy. Look, this brother here, he has a different viewpoint. He's kind of all over the place for me. But anyway, he has a different viewpoint. I have a different viewpoint. That's why I created Urban Game Changers. I have a mission statement where I make it very clear, holding elected officials accountable, coming up with strategies and plans. We have Urban Game Changers leaders across the country that are growing, from New York to California to Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C., to Louisiana, and other states that are coming up as well, Virginia. These are people who understand grassroots ground connection. I think that is where we should be focused first before we start saying we want we want money back, we want rights back. I think we need to start thinking about what is that we need now. I like to deal with the now. I like to deal with 2018 now. And I like to say that this administration, in all his disrupting, we should be a louder voice at the table, and we're not. Instead, the immigrants are having a louder voice and other agendas are having a louder voice. But if we as Black people can stop beating each other up, and if Black men can stop being so intimidated by an alpha central woman like myself and not be like, oh, you Black women. If y'all can handle strong women with strong opinions that have a voice at the table, because we've been leading in this fight for so long. Black women have put their lives on the line for so long, and yet we still are the ones that are being attacked by our own brothers. This is what I'm talking about. I would like to see if we could sit down together and collaborate. Come to meetings. Urban Game Changers, we have these meetings. We just had an event called The Fate of Black America. You can go to my YouTube channel and watch those videos where we talk about my Latino sister talking about her people, but then not us. When I talked to an illegal immigrant on T West show, Afro Synergy, he interviewed a man in Washington that stood up at a Black event and said, your people are lazy. He basically said, my people like to work and your people are lazy. See, they have got these notions and ideologies out there that we're unaccomplished and able to accomplish anything. I think we have to first change the narrative before we can start asking for a proposed idea or agenda. By doing that, then we can set a presence for the table to present something of valid to get what we should be getting from 2018 under these terms and under these guidelines. Titus, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
My bad. All right, appreciate it, Shirley. Thank you so much. Kala, under Black nationalism, is reparations a goal?
Well, yeah. If the idea of national in the future is an independent nation of our own off the shores of America, that's our ultimate goal. And then once we have that land secured and everything like that, yes, the government of the United States. Let me tell you something. You are never going to get reparations until you have what we call force, right? The Japanese got reparations after World War II because the government of Japan played a geopolitical strategy during the Cold War to get the Japanese reparations for the property they lost in California and Oregon, those territories. Black people are never going to get reparations if they decide to stay in America and keep their citizenship. You have to have a country and several world bodies backing you. The government of Germany, right, was forced to pay billions of dollars of reparations to the Jews, the Holocaust. Who was the beneficiary, the recipient of that? The state of Israel. And because of that, we have the state of Israel. If you are not serious about nationhood, you take the word reparation out of your mouth because it's never going to happen. If you don't have geopolitical force or geopolitical power, if you're not moving towards geopolitical power, geopolitical force, then you're just rambling on, talking a bunch of nonsense, and it's not going to get you any place. Now, look. Now, if you want to be a game changer and stuff like that, I'm not trying to disparage your organization, stuff like that, and this is a game, you know what I'm saying? Go right ahead. Keep going back and forth with the Republicans, Democrats, and talk about this big abstract stuff that we all know exists and everything, but there's no collective Black people to talk about urban game changers because a lot of us people are all over the place. That term urban, what does the term urban mean? You know what I'm saying? Urban. Is it Black? You know what I'm saying? Is it specific to the African American community? You know what I'm saying? Terms like minority, urban, everything are vague terms that are not offensive to people. You know what I'm saying? So when you say this is an African American game changer organization, oh no, we can't have that. But when it's an urban, it's more polite and it's more thing. Not a spiritual organization, everything like that.
So you want to attack my name of my organization? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not attacking it. I'm just saying when you say urban,
what are you saying?
Urban,
do you know what urban is?
Yeah, urban means the urban,
do you know what
city.
Suburban is? Because urban's not.
We use suburban. More black people live in the suburbs than anything like that. Compton is a suburb.
I'm a real estate developer. I'm very clear what urban is and what most people don't. You don't understand.
You wouldn't cater to somebody living in Compton. Compton's a suburb.
Okay, so when we talk about urban communities, when we talk about
It's
the
vague
large
and
percentage of
abstract.
Black people,
It's a
we're talking about
stereotype.
large
Yeah, it's a stereotype. Black people are urban. That's a stereotype. That's what white people think. We're urban.
okay.
You know, that's the problem I have. You know what
And
I'm
you don't
saying?
think that we're getting games played on us, and you don't think that they're constantly
I mean,
changing up.
the bottom line is, I'm not saying keep doing what you're
Oh no,
doing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just trying to clarify where you're going with this.
Keep doing,
What is
keep
your
doing what
point?
you're doing. Yo,
What
keep
is
doing.
your
I'm just
point?
trying to
What
tell you.
is your point?
Hold on, I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you when you say urban game changes and whatnot, it all sounds the same thing. Of okay, when people say urban inner city youth, right? Right away, well, first of all, forget about the fact that there's Italians, Germans, everything living in the city. The first thing you think of an inner city youth is what? A young Black male. The inner city youth of America, whatnot. They won't say African American male. It's vague and abstract. You know what I'm saying? We said urban.
Can we get back to reparations?
So
Can we get back to
I'm
reparations?
saying no. What I'm saying is about reparations and whatnot. If people talk about reparations and they talk about reparations, asking for reparations is almost like a declaration of war. You know what I'm saying? You cannot call yourself a United States citizen and everything, and basically take the same government to the world court for reparations and whatnot, and talk about, oh yeah, well I'm still going to remain in America and be an American citizen. Black people got to stop this. I love America so much, but I want America to take care of me. Either you're gonna say it's time for us to part ways. When you decide it's time for us to part ways, then you can start talking about reparations. You say now it's time for us to look at the history and say this is what you owe us. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna be part of America, you're gonna still be on Dancing with the Stars. You're gonna still walk the red carpet. You're gonna still do all this stupid nonsense. Participating in sport and do all the stuff in the mainstream of America, whatnot. Shut up about reparations because it's never going to happen. As long as white people think you want to be a part of America, you'll never be part of America. When you get serious about separation from America, then it might happen.
All right, perfect. All right, so Kala, how can people reach out to you, brother?
Join the BAIO. We have people signing up every day. It's the only real movement on right now. The Black African Infrastructure Organization is the only movement right now. We even have Black conservatives in there who see the nationalist light, who want a nation of their own, who are building locally and everything. People are linking up and they see the light. We have everything going on from STEM to science to business. We have some of the top business people, top engineers in our organization. We really are doing this. This organization is 10 years in the making and everything like that. And then you join us and everything, start be part of local chapters and everything. You can be part of something, a thing. We're about building Black America and building a nation in Africa and building satellite communities all across the globe. You know what I'm saying? We don't need anybody. We don't need the Republican Party. We don't need the Democrat Party. All we need is each other. And people join the BAL saying, damn, I didn't know people thought like this. You got what degree? You got this? You're a chemical engineer. What the heck? Yeah, all the best of Black America is joining the BAIO. And I'm so proud of this organization. The stupid people don't join us because they don't get it. The stupid people stay away. The stupid people look at this and say, whoa. The smart people join the BAIO and it's growing and it's basically going to take over. It's growing by the day and there's nothing going to stop it. All we need is each other. We don't need any stuff. The bottom line is this. In the future, these political parties are going to come to us. They're going to come to Black America. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to get our act together. We don't need anybody solving our problems. We can solve our problems ourselves.
Okay. So what we'll do it. Okay. And so I got to end on a positive note. I really think if sisters like Shirley and brothers like Kala partner together, I know there's common ground somewhere that we could be powerful. That's how I feel. Do you two at least agree?
Well, I didn't get to I didn't get to do my closing. I didn't.
Okay. No, you don't. You're right. Okay, so, but do we agree though? And then sure, I'll let you go ahead and close. Do we agree?
I can only work with people that can communicate from a viewpoint of openness.
Okay.
And if we're gonna start attacking a Black woman because she's strong or feel offended,
I'm not attacking. You keep bringing that up.
Come on, listen, I'm trying to end on a positive note.
I know, but I can't get my point across because he keeps cutting me off. I don't cut him off when he goes on to wherever he's going into.
Sister Shirley.
Can I finish my thought?
Let her finish your thought.
Listen, you guys have obviously said this long through both of these debates, and you're going to make a decision on who you like and who you don't like. We're Black people. we're Black people first. And I believe that we all should come together. And I created Urban Game Changers to provide an opportunity to hold elected officials accountable. Look, you can talk about degreed Negroes all you want. I know degreed Negroes right now with masters and doctors working at Target, working at Walmart. They can't get jobs here because they don't speak Spanish, because the management is under a Hispanic regime, and they don't even hire Black people. And they tell you, we don't even hire Black people. They'll say that straight to your face. So we're all different with different quadrants of the country, different areas of the country, different colonizations of the country. We're all dealing with it from different perspectives. So the purpose of Urban Game Changers is that we go into urban communities and then we hold elected officials accountable for what is going on in our communities. Each one of us brings something different to the table. And that's all I'm saying. As far as the economic point of view, I believe that Black people should start getting certificates. I think degrees are just basically taking too long. I do believe in education. I do believe in master's and doctorate programs. I graduated from USC Financial Real Estate Development. I know technology. My son just got into UCLA. He's in cybersecurity. My other son, he's in social media management. My other son does CAD. I work with a lot of people in the tech community. As you know, Silicon Valley, Silicon Beach, we are the tech capital of the world. California is the 5th largest to 10th largest, and we constantly go up and down economy in the world. So if anyone talks about wealth and opportunity, I have wealthy people in my Rolodex. I have millionaires and billionaires in my Rolodex. But what good is that in my Rolodex if that money is not in my pocket? If we have to realize that certain tax leverages are being used against us. In California, 10% income tax. 10% income tax in California. In Texas, they don't have income tax. They get hit by property tax. But everything's an offset. But in California, we're getting taxed left and right. They have a thing called the healthy tax. When you go out to eat, you get your regular tax, and then you got to pay 4% of what you eat in certain LA County restaurants called the healthy tax. And it pays for the health care plan for the immigrants or the waiters and the waitresses.
Hey, Kyle,
This is the point. Let me finish my thought. This is the point that we're dealing with in California. It may not be that way in Atlanta. It may not be that way in Chicago. I get that. But in my organization, where I'm working with people as a collective, we're learning that we live in America. Mr. Trump has listened to our side. We want that seat at the table. I have talked with the White House. I am working with the White House. We want to have a difference in our community, but we have to have a proposed plan. I'm not thinking about exiting America. I'm not thinking about trying to build Africa to build us up. I think that we have enough goods and we also have enough resources to leverage in our best interest. If what I say brings value to you and you like it, please come join Urban Game Changers. Please make a donation to Urban Game Changer to Dynas. And I want to thank this brother, even though me and him didn't mostly agree on a lot of things, the historical part, absolutely. The pain and anguish, absolutely. But the future of this country comes from us holding elected officials accountable, as well as ourselves, and holding our own people accountable of wealth to come on the board and at least identify the differences of what they need to be doing to help the poor and impoverished.
And with that being said, but Kyle, let me tell you how petty California is. When I was in Cali, I think it was like 08 or 09, they charge you, you know, when you go to Kroger and you spend $200 on groceries,
Yeah,
they charge you for the bags, the MFers. That's how petty California is. But anyways, with that being said, everyone, yeah, Cali's just petty Cali's just petty as hell. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru.com, DynasMirror.com, AfricaPersonified.Africa, and Amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasty Mirror. Please buy a book. Shirley and Kala, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Both of y'all, we all need. Hey, listen. We need to come together like this. We need to come together. We can do it.
Oh, like I said, no talk is no good. Like I said, I'll talk to you know me. I'll talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
I know you will. I know.
And I'll articulate people's views, stuff like that. You know, it's no big deal for me. I'll talk to anybody, anytime, and this, that, and the other thing. Because I know, you know, ultimately what we're trying to do with the BAO is the answer. So
absolutely.
Out of I can franchise and incorporate everybody. Pretty soon, all these people are going to be stuck up into the BAO anyway.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
they're BIO Nationalist members. They don't let us know yet.
All right, Kyle. So with that being said, everybody, I'm about to go to bed because I gotta get up early in the morning.
Good night, you guys. Urban Game
night.
Changers. Come
All
to the
right.
website. Thanks.
All right, peace, family. Peace, peace, peace.